There we are. We're good. What a mess. I don't know how many people caught any of that, but it was great. You guys, that's the fastest I've ever seen Tom Lang run. This is not a comment on your athleticism or lack thereof or anything in between. I'm saying there's never been a reason to see you run. I don't think we've ever been in a situation where you had to run.
I can move. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't saying you were. I'm just saying, like, I've never had to see you go. And right as we were coming on the air, we were having a camera issue. So this is a sort of an abnormal way to begin the show. But we were having a camera issue, and it was zoomed in where you guys would have just seen, like, the white of this sweatshirt. It would have been the only thing you saw, or the enamel on my teeth. But the point is, we were trying to fix it. We got it fixed, but it was right as the music was playing, Bubba O'Reilly, and it's time for me to go on, and Tom has to go and raise the mic, lower the music, and in 2 long bounds, he did it. And now I'm hearing that the sound is off. I hear the mic just fine. You guys aren't hearing the mic just fine. Tom is attempting to fix the mic. What is going on?
How about now?
Is the mic working, everybody? Did we get everything right? We good now? We good? Somebody, come on, let's go. Let us know in the chat. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. We're going to do a show. Now we're good. You want to start over? I feel like we got to make everything right in the universe. What a mess.
I can mute Baba for the chat, and then we can do it that way. You want to go?
No, I'll just do it. Hey, this is what I'll do. Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Good to have you on board. Hey, Redemption Thursday. Let's go. Let's get to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. Thanks for listening. If you're doing so on Warchant TV, YouTube, that is. Hey, appreciate you very much. Driving about town, 93.3. Thank you so much as well. Now we're off and running. Audio, no problem. Camera, good to go.
Now you see why I was a good guy over the slot and pick up football. I'm quick.
You did good. You did good, Tommy. I was maybe laugh. I was like, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna get around that corner? I saw the flash. My man got in there, that mic, and we were ready to roll.
And then I celebrated as though I was recording an out. Call it the 4th of the game for Tennessee and their college baseball team.
Oh man, let's go. We've got a football game tonight, and one I'm really looking forward to because I think it's going to be good. I think the Orange Bowl is going to be good, Tom, and I'm really looking forward to this game because it kind of feels like a throwback game. Maybe it's the cold weather in me that I've been feeling, but it's right? It seems like it should be. Let's get some hard-hitting, defensive-minded. We want to run the ball to set up the pass. Old-school football in the trenches. I think we get it. I think that's exactly what's on display tonight between Notre Dame and Penn State. And if you think about it again, I'll reiterate something I said yesterday, and we'll get to these games in a second. But I do think that this is the best opportunity for both these teams that they're going to have. Like one of these two teams, Penn State or Notre Dame, after tonight, will be playing for the national championship. That is surprising. There's no other way to say it that before the season, if you had told me pick two teams and then keep picking until you come up with some matchup like this, it would have been a minute. I don't know how many teams we would have had Texas over Notre Dame or Penn State. We would have had Ohio State over Notre Dame or Penn State. We would have had Oregon over Notre Dame or Penn State. We probably would have had Georgia, certainly, over Notre Dame and Penn State. We would have probably had, maybe not Alabama, maybe with the coaching change and all of that.
Is your name Kirk Herbstreit?
Well, but I'm seriously, we know they have good players, and Kalen DeBoer was coming in. We kind of didn't know what to expect there.
I would never have picked them for the Final Four personally.
Because of Milroe,
yep.
Yeah. Milroe was the biggest question. You knew the talent was there otherwise, but Milroe, you were kind of like, nice if he could throw a consistent forward pass. So, anyhow, you might not have had them, but would you have had anybody else in the SEC for that matter? Would you had
not Ole Miss?
would you have had Tennessee over either Penn State or Notre Dame?
Over Penn State, probably. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I might have had several teams, including Alabama, over Penn State. I mean, James Franklin doesn't beat anybody when it matters, ever. So you get my drift.
You could argue technically still hasn't, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame is Notre Dame. We always see them as what they have been, which is a pretty steady, solid program, good football team, probably going to win 10 games, but not a legitimate national championship contender, right? You wouldn't have said that they were a legitimate national championship contender. You hate Riley Leonard, so that you wouldn't have had them there.
That's true. However, when we got to November 1st, this is before we played them, I would have had them in this conversation because you see the field and I go, ooh, man, there's nothing really out there.
Yeah, there's no dominant program, right? Yeah,
you were looking at it. Simple football, that's a football that travels. It translates. And so let's just say Notre Dame were to win tonight. I think they have the better chance to win the national championship of the combatants tonight. Of
the two teams to beat either Texas or Ohio State, you think Notre Dame has the best chance?
Yes, they can Marv Albert it, they can win it, whatever it is. Absolutely.
You might be right about that. I think I could argue the other way just because of quarterback.
Well, this is the thing. Our big-time throws is the variance in this argument. If you think he's going to land 2 or 3 of them, which he's totally capable of.
Well, he's played well lately.
Yes. Then Penn State might have the better argument.
Yeah.
But Leonard's legs is the other component here.
Yeah, I agree.
And it shortens the game, too. The style that they want to play, including the quarterback run, is going to shrink possessions and give them a better chance to score an upset.
They're rugged, and they'll be in it physically. We know that. I really think both teams are in it physically. So, meaning in the final matchup, they'll both be an underdog against either Texas or Ohio State. They'll both be an underdog. They would be, anyhow. But again, if we started this college football campaign, a lot of things would have surprised us. Like if I had told you Florida State was going to go 2-10, it would have surprised you. You know what's not a surprise? Oh, that is so good. Got to pat myself on the back. What's not a surprise is what happened last night down in South Florida. Oh, no, that's not a surprise because that's what we do. Bust that ass if the team on the other side is Miami. Get you some. Get you some Canes. Stick 'em in your mouth and suck 'em. Always. Always. And forever. It started out 2 fighters. Jab. Let's figure out who, let's move around a little bit. Then, all of a sudden, 9 minutes left in the half, 2-point game. Former Nole, Matthew Cleveland, picked up his second foul, went to the bench, and FSU's defense started playing really well. And here comes a 19-5 run for that ass. 39-23, 4 minutes left in the half, 4 Miami turnovers. Noles score on 8 of their next 9 possessions. Even though we hit a drought in the remaining 4 minutes of the half, 4 turnovers and 6 bricks. Pissed me off. I just want you to know that. Watching at home, I was a little perturbed in that moment because we had it humming, baby. But Miami in that stretch where we were throwing up bricks scored a grand total of 2 points, made up 2 points in the run. So it was okay. 39-29, 39-25 at half. It was essentially over. I will say we let them back in. We had this run of sort of malaise where we just didn't do much, and they cut it to 6 at the 10-minute mark, and I was getting frustrated again. This is what basketball does to you in general, though. But you got to give it up to Chandler Jackson, who said, on an attempted layup attempt, that's redundant, you're welcome. That was a spark, and it completely shifted the game, and Florida State went on another one of these great runs, a 13-1 run, in fact. And at that point, you could call it a night. It was 71-51. But Florida State dominates this game. At one point, it was 80-55. Just a beating. And then we put in the Green Vipers who can't play, and they cut this massive margin down by 10. And anyhow, the Noles get the win. And look, man, they're 11-4. They're 2-2 in the ACC. The competition's about to get a lot tougher as we slowly sort of, I guess, lay eyes on college basketball a little bit, segue a little bit towards the end of football. Still plenty of football left, but, you get it. Started kind of at least check in with the Noles in basketball. They've got some guys, Tom. I mean, Ewing's really good. 20 points, 10 boards in 23 minutes. Bo Bowen's shooting really well.
That's back-to-back games in conference play for him. He had a double-double last time out.
Well, 6 for 6 and 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. And by the way, that's the story of the night. Besides all the assists, which this is impressive for Florida State. I'll get you into some of those deep dive number stuff. But if you go back and look in, Jameer Watkins, 10 points, 18 minutes due to foul trouble, though. But Daquan Davis had 10 assists in 25 minutes. Okay.
Hey, man, they're not in an unfathomable place. They're 72 in the net. You got to go on a 5-game heater, not including these first two, and then maybe you're in a position where people are talking about you.
Well, the problem you have is you were just facing the bottom dwellers of a bad league.
Naturally, yes.
And
but it's not a great league.
No, but you do go on the road this Saturday against Clemson, who's 12-4, 4-1 in the ACC. You can say it. Go ahead. Where do they play in that game?
The Little John.
Thank you. 2:00 ACC Network.
We hope to beat them there. At the Little John.
Then, hey, might this be your first appearance of the year? It'll be my second. I'm not disparaging. This upcoming Wednesday, less than a week from right now, got a quad 1 matchup against Pitt on Wednesday night.
After potentially a quality win on the road.
Right. TLC Double C home game, Pitt, who's 12-3, 3-1 in the ACC Wednesday night. Now, 9 p.m. is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's when we play that game. I don't know. But I hope everybody else goes. I might watch it in bed.
Can't do 6 and 8 ACC?
Come on, man. You said it. We're 72nd in the net. But here's our problem. Our 11 wins are against quad 3 or quad 4 teams. I hate the way we label these things, but that's the way they're labeled these days. And you can look up that information. It's all statistically relevant to the way the committee is going to choose the teams and all of that. So you got to win some quad 1 opportunities because you don't have all that many, and you need to solidify your case, your resume. And you got a couple of opportunities. This road game against Clemson for starters on Saturday, and then another one on Wednesday at home at the TLC Double C against Pitt. Now, if you want to start getting taken seriously, where all of a sudden we kind of like actually, you and me, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Like we actually start going.
I'm engaged now.
Okay. You've got my attention. I was somewhat amused, but now you have my attention. You win those 2 games. Win the next 2 games. They won't. Win the next 2 games. And now all of a sudden I'm going, hey. What do we got going on here? Might we avoid the ding-ding? You would?
I'd take the ding-ding right now.
Well, of course you would. But I want the choo-choo. I don't want the ding-ding, and I certainly don't want the beep-beep. Beep-beep doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
I don't think so.
I don't think it does. No, I only want the choo-choo. Never want the ding-ding. I love that this is a fun radio show to do. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Well, it's a new year, and it's time to make your yard look great again. Since 2004, the Lawn Johns have been keeping Tallahassee looking beautiful. In fact, when they do such a good job on your yard, you're going to say, wow, they did a good job on my yard. If I were to rate the Lawn Johns, I would give them, just like I give myself, an A+. Everyone knows the Lawn Johns are, and I have to say, the best. So pick up the phone and call 322-2567, or you should visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Tallahassee is full of rich history and traditions. When you think of things that jump out in the minds of longtime residents, the state capitol, McClay Gardens, the Springtime Tallahassee Parade, FSU and FAMU Sports, the St. Mark's Lighthouse, St. George Island, and Paul's Termite and Pest Control. Paul's has been protecting thousands of people, their pets, their homes, and their lawns in the capital region for over 50 years. Locally founded and still locally owned and operated. There aren't many businesses in our industry that keep it together that long. Paul's Pest Control has many customers we've been honored to serve for over the last 50 years. We've experienced tremendous changes in how we treat homes and protect the people that live there. We've moved from liquid termite treatments that require drilling into the home's foundation to Centricon, a baiting system which works with their natural biology. We've moved from interior service to exterior treatments for general pests. But one thing we're not going to change is our old-fashioned commitment to personal service for each of our customers, the same way we've been doing it for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
Don't miss TSC Tuesdays every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. during the Greg Tish Show. Find out what's happening at Tallahassee State College every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 FM.
This new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Science-backed technology tracked and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Okay, Vaughn, I don't know what the choo-choo might happen. I'll give you a choo-choo if we win these next two games. Like if we beat Clemson Saturday and then turn around and beat Pitt on Wednesday.
So that would be 1 week from today.
No, today's Thursday. Oh, on the show. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
I was going to say I'll tweet it out on that Wednesday night.
Oh, well.
Provided I'm still awake. But yeah, because it's a 9 o'clock tip-off. There's no guarantees. I could be, well into a deep slumber at that point. That's what happens these days, especially if it's cold outside. I get home and I throw on the old, really comfortable. I have this old pair of Florida State sweatpants, not the ones I'm currently wearing, which are the newer pair from Garnet Gold. But if it's one of these older,
did you go get a refresh?
No, this is ones I got a while back, but I like them.
It's baseball season is usually when I
yeah, you got to wait for baseball season. I've done this right here. This is where it's at.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Tara did me right. She called me the day the second batch came in because I didn't get the first batch, and she knew I wanted these. She was like, "Hey, got you one. Come up here and get you one." I was like, "All right, this is gorgeous. I'm afraid to wear this one. For those driving, it's a white sweatshirt with just the spear. The problem, and I'm a less is more guy, so this is perfect for me. But the problem with this one is I'm an avid, as you guys know, a coffee connoisseur, if you will. I love coffee most times of the day. I can drink a cup of coffee, or at least I'm tempted to. And there's no margin for error. There's no margin for error when you're eating. I ate a Factor before I came in today. Part of the Factor had vegetables, broccoli, in this sort of sauce. I don't know what the hell the sauce was. It was delicious.
Probably a cream sauce of some kind.
I hope. But it was very, very good. And anyhow, but it was red. No, it wasn't creamy. It was red. So anyhow, the sauce was red. I'm like, oh, this is a disaster waiting to happen. Because even if I eat like a civilized human being and just put the piece of the broccoli floret on the fork and I eat it, what if one of the little red things splatters just a little bit? There you
do.
There you're ruined because even one little thing, even if you can't see it, I know it's there. I can see it. It's going to bother me to no end. You can't get that stuff out. It's not coming out. You're going to have it on there for life, and thus it's ruined. So I have to pick my moments for this sweatshirt. It's got to be cold enough. I wore it in Chicago when it was cold. I wore it today because it's cold. Finally cold enough, like 20s and low 30s when I got up this morning. All right, I can wear it. But, man, I was sipping coffee like this. I was, like, backed away.
Got to get you one of those metal straws.
Over.
You can throw the straw in the dishwasher. There you go.
You can't drink coffee out of a straw. I can't drink coffee out of a straw. I'm not going to drink coffee out of a straw.
I don't drink coffee, so I wouldn't know.
It would ruin it. It's just not what you do. You can't do it. But it makes me nervous. But there's nothing in here right now that's going to bother me.
Remember your Cubesta? You love those. With the coffee ice cubes?
Oh, my God. Why'd you do that? I blocked it. I did love the cubes. Those things were so good. Brooklyn Bagel Factory or whatever the hell that was.
That's right.
Is that what it was?
Water bagel.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Water Bagel.
Man, those things were delicious, and they're big.
Those were, yeah.
They're gigantic.
They're 32 ounces. Today, they would cost $17.95.
The problem is that I would drink those things at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when we're going on the air.
Yes, you would. Sometimes you'd get two.
Those things were delicious.
Daniel, hang on. Give me two.
Yeah, that's right. Man, I don't need that. Why was I doing that? It's a bit excessive.
I don't know.
Back in those days, I would drink a giant Cubesta, have a second one in reserve, and begin the show with a 5-hour energy.
Yes, you would. The extra strength, too.
We are flying high in that moment. Flying high. Okay. Shep, that is weird. You knew a woman who only drank coffee through a straw? Buddy, hope you're doing well, but that is weird. Thanks for the observation, though. Hey, did you know, I want to say this real quick. I will tell you this, I've received over the years the emails and tweets and the like. We have a lot of listeners, and there's a pretty sizable contingent of Florida State graduates out in California. And if any of you are listening as a means of escape, we sometimes find that out, that people, they need a moment away from whatever stressor is going on in their life, and that's a pretty serious one. And they'll write nice things to us. It's always humbling, it's moved me to tears before, where people have said, hey, I've had a rough year, or my father's been ill, and sometimes we listen to the show together just to get through some things. Listen, I always love when people share those kinds of personal details with me. It means a lot. It serves as fuel sometimes when sometimes you're not up to entertaining the masses or whatever it might be, and you don't have the energy. And then you think about something like that, and you're like, man, is it too much to like throw yourself into the show again? Come on, let's go to work. You got a good job. Shut the hell up and do it, But it's also when things like this are going on, man, we have a lot of California people out there. And of course, Florida State has a film school, and tons of graduates leave that film school and go straight out to LA. One of my very best friends, who might be listening right now, did that exact same thing when he graduated film school, Stephen Rafferty, and lived in LA for years. I happen to like California. I like that area. I like a lot of things about it, and I'm just saddened about the images we're all seeing and everything that's going on there. But I won't hyper focus on that, other than to say I can turn this into a sports conversation. They may have to move that game to Arizona, and they're talking about doing it. I'm talking about the Rams-Vikings game. They can't change the date on that they have to play it when it's scheduled to be played for obvious competitive reasons and all those things. I mean, meaning the following week's game and how that would affect the playoffs and everything else. So I would guess they're going to make that decision officially maybe while we're on the air. I mean, we're going to hear something officially.
Yeah, I would think that you would need to do it tonight or by first thing tomorrow, because if you have fans that are traveling from out of town to the game, and Minnesota is a fan base that travels, not every one of them are. If it was, the Cardinals and it was the East Coast that there was an issue, you wouldn't need to worry about that so much. But Minnesota travels. Also, LA lends itself to out-of-town fans getting tickets to games. Dallas is the same way. They've got a big problem with that with Jerry's World.
Yeah.
But if they got to change flights and hotel accommodations, you would need to let them know tonight. Now, that's the luxury side of tragedy, but it is also a logistic that needs to be planned out. At least they announced last night the alternate site so that
it's going to be in Glendale,
and the two franchises can make plans, for their hotel blocks and whatever they need to do.
So for those that haven't been paying close attention, I mean, this is affecting the sports world across the board. There will be more cancellations, to be sure, in all the leagues. The NBA, the NHL had a game canceled last night, obviously postponed, I should say. They're going to make it up at some point. But, the fire began Tuesday morning. It spread throughout that region. Wednesday morning, 3 fires as of yesterday were concurrent is the word I think you would use, in all different parts of Eaton, Hearst, and I think Palisades is what they're saying. Those 3 areas.
Yeah, Palisades is
And you and I have driven through there together and driven down. And many of you listening have driven the Pacific Coast Highway, one of the most beautiful drives in the world. It is a stunning. I've had some magical moments driving that drive. I've had the good fortune to do it many times, and it's magical. It is. It's magical. And you think about the history of those areas. It's just sad. It's very, very sad. And at this point, they've got to figure out what they're doing. Now, some sports figures that you know of very well, Kawhi Leonard, for example, flew home and removed himself from the Clippers roster. What's new? But in this case, it was legit. It wasn't load management. It was, I got to get my family out of there. You're seeing this from other people as well. ESPN had to alter because they've got an LA base and they have a production crew that's there. They had to postpone the NBA Today shows and all the stuff that they do out of Los Angeles. They've got major changes. They were trying to do what turned out to be a great game, the Thunder Cavs matchup. They had limited personnel. That game was great, by the way. I just so you know, I know not a lot of our audience watches the NBA, but those are 2 really good teams. It would be a catastrophe for the NBA if they met in the finals, but it was really fun to watch. Really good players, 2 best records. Anyhow, so that's what they had. Pepperdine is affected. UCLA is affected. Here's the other problem they have. Even if SoFi is not in the area where the fires are per se, last I looked, it's 11 miles from the nearest problem. And we've driven by where SoFi was built. Anyhow, I didn't know this. I read it this morning. SoFi, when you see it on television, looks like a dome.
Yeah. Oh, I know where you're going with this.
But it is not a dome at all.
Yeah, it's open air.
It's open air on the sides.
Yeah.
It's a unique stadium, by the way. I'd like to go to it just to see it. It's a weird-looking stadium. It's unique. I got to give it credit. I'd love to go inside and see again. I'm sure it's beautiful. It's brand new, state of the art. But because it's open air and not enclosed, the air, the air quality right now in LA is a huge problem in California as a whole because, and I don't understand what any of that means. I'm not going to pretend that I do, but I know that when they issue these warnings, they tell you that the air quality, and they measure these things, and it's a point application. They say the air quality for you to be outside, exercising, going to games, cheering
on.
Yeah, has to be below 150. Yesterday afternoon, it was 300.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a lot. I don't know what any of it means, but doubling the air quality standard sounds pretty significant.
Well, and the ramifications will be felt far and wide, depending upon whichever way the wind blows. I can remember being in Manhattan 2 years ago, and they had the Canadian wildfires.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's right.
And
it's pitch black.
It looked like being up there. I didn't even go. We had tickets to the Met game. I didn't go because I didn't want it. It was just on the good side of the AQI, but the air stunk. It was awful, and not as bad as, of course, what Canada had because that's where it was emanating from. but you walked around the city streets and the cavernous streets that usually you see the sky or whatever, it looks like the Martian atmosphere that you would have in your brain. It's just an orange haze, and you can't see anything above
It's
a certain
crazy.
story. So yeah, I mean, and that was Canada to Manhattan. There's a long space there. 11 miles away. I mean, I would assume this thing's going to move. They would have to do it. I know they're trying to exhaust all possible opportunities to allow for a home field advantage, but what are we doing?
I agree with you. It does sound like that's good. This has been a crazy postseason, late year turn of events in college and pro football in particular. Now, this affects all sports, but you got the college football playoff that's already had situation. Now we have a weather situation in Texas where they were talking about maybe having to move the game, change the time of the game, even though that's played indoors, just the trying to get to the stadium itself, and travel has become hell. And Ohio State has a massive fan base. And everybody figured that this would be an automatic sellout and it would be a huge ticket item. Have you seen how reduced the prices are, the tickets now for that game, the Cotton Bowl?
No.
When I looked at the beginning of the week, they were talking about $500 to $600 a ticket. And now it's like less than 100 in some cases. It's just, listen, people are dealing with severe weather issues, and then the travel, it's a much.
Oh my God, you're not kidding.
No.
I just pulled it up on a secondary market site, and you know how they will abuse you as a buyer.
Yeah.
I'm seeing 140.
Yeah.
125.
Yeah. You earlier in the week, you would have seen somewhere in the neighborhood of 500, 600. At least when I checked it.
You could get upper tank 50-yard line, which again, those aren't the best seats in the world, but those in a game of this magnitude usually would go for $600-700. They're at $200 a piece, $230.
Crazy.
That's something.
Yeah, it is something. It's and those, I'm guessing if that storm continues to look like a threat, that's going to continue to go down. By the way, I read something today while we're on the subject. Before we take a break, it kind of works hand in hand, at least if we're talking about viewership or we're talking about numbers and attendance and all those sorts of things. Obviously, the thought in college football right now is that these bowl games that aren't involved in the playoff rotation in any way are, neutered. They don't matter. You see the way players opt out of games. You see the way that, just the overall cynicism amongst the fans of college football around these games. We just had a discussion on the show about lamenting the days where there were tiers to these bowls, and winning some of them, even the ones not named the Orange or the Sugar or the Fiesta or the Rose, were a big deal. To win the Cotton Bowl was a big deal. To win the Peach Bowl or the Gator Bowl, we had a certain feeling about what those bowls meant. If you didn't make your ultimate dream, which is to play in the national championship or to play in one of the big bowls, New Year's Day bowls. Outback always felt like a pretty big bowl to me.
Citrus Bowl.
Yeah. Like a big deal, right? And some came and went, and some didn't matter as much anymore, and all those things. Well, the thought was golly, I mean, I'm watching some of these bowl games. They still have a ton of them. And even though the swag stuff is gone, I'm still a big proponent of more football, not less football. And we had the talk that even though some of these games don't matter, you try to watch as much as you can before football goes the way of the bear that hibernates, and you got other things that you have to focus on. So, we were all, as college football fans, I think, of the mindset that these games slowly but surely would go away. Like, instead of having 36 bowls or 36 bowls or thereabouts, that number would get chopped in half at some point, because how are these bowls going to survive with half-empty stadiums? Yeah. And, you watch this game.
Move to the spring. Yeah, unless you found a way to integrate it into spring football.
But we're wrong, at least temporarily, because of the 33 bowl games outside the New York 6.
New Year's 6.
I said New York because I saw the big NY, and it's an automatic response. I should have wrote it out, but I was lazy and just wrote NY. So
that would be Tony and Phil.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah. Outside the New Year's Six, they averaged 2.7 million viewers. That is a 14% increase from last year to this year. 14 of those bowls hit either a 5 or a 10-year high in viewership this year.
Really?
I read that this morning, double-checked it. It's right.
Somebody's cooking the books.
I don't think they are. I mean, this is interesting. That's two different sources on this one, Tommy.
Yeah.
14 of the bowls hit either a 5 or a 10-year high. Now, it's not going to surprise you when I tell you that of those non-New Year's Six bowls, the most popular or most well-received, it averaged 8 million viewers at its peak, according to Sports Media Watch, if you're wondering where I went for this.
Yep.
BYU, Colorado.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. And it was a good game because all the starters for both teams played. And Deion's boys took an ass beating. But anyhow, that's an aside. What do you think was next? I won't tell you. I think you're going to guess this. This is probably
Alabama, Michigan.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
6.55 million viewers average.
Yeah, we caught the fourth quarter.
It was good. We
It was.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We were having a cold one after a good round of golf. Networks are obviously looking at the next year's bowls and the inventory, and they're saying, okay, we got a little, all right, we got a little something here.
Hey, ReliaQuest, let's run it back. Good numbers.
You know, there's Iowa State and Miami did exceptionally well. It was a great game.
It was a score fest. Yeah.
It was an interesting game.
Pop-Tarts has done a good job.
Pop-Tarts has done a great job.
Yeah.
And that is also highlighted in a separate story about how this little bowl that could is really like people, it's a thing. You want to watch this.
I know people who went just because it's the Pop-Tarts Bowl this year.
Yeah, so
it's a sideshow.
It is nuts what's happening. Now, we don't know how long this will sustain because we still have the unlimited transfer opportunities and players opting out of games more now than they ever have. It's grown each year. Others save themselves, obviously, for the NFL draft. That's now a common feature of college football. It was an uncommon situation when it happened in the past to the point where it would be argued, where we would get on the air and a name would hold themselves out of a game. You'd be like, well, with your bitch ass not playing in the bowl game. And then others would be like, well, why should he play in the bowl game? That's crazy. It doesn't mean anything. Well, if you're about betrayal of your teammates, I see who you are. Yeah, this is how it went.
I remember those times.
Those are the conversations. Now, nobody says anything of the like. They're like, well, okay, I understand. No, I get it. Although that's shifting too, because if we're going to pay these dudes, we're going to get back to oh, no, you're playing in the bowl game.
And this is where it would really, really help
if they were employees.
Unionization, collective bargaining, and then you could have it down to a granular per game paycheck, maybe. Do it that way. If you don't want to play, well, that's
it's going to cost you this much.
$25,000 that you don't get. Your call. Now, you can keep that opportunity of health and take it with you to the Senior Bowl, or you could play in this bowl game, be paid $125,000 for your film out there and skip the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Your call.
Well, I got more on that. It's interesting in a moment. I got some numbers here that involve, in an ancillary way, we'll bring it back to Florida State, but some NIL stuff here for you that's interesting and payroll stuff for you that gets along the lines of where we're headed in the sport and what you'd want to see since we're moving in that direction. Things like, collective bargaining. Things like, you're an employee. This is a contract. You will or will not do these.
You should be sprinting like I did to start the show, right into the arms of it.
Yeah, we'll see. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
4 people were involved and at least 2 were hurt after a multi-vehicle crash along Crawfordville Highway and Trumpet Lane Tuesday afternoon, according to a spokesperson from Florida Highway Patrol. A Volvo, Nissan, Ford F-250, and Lexus were involved in the crash. FHP said at least 1 vehicle rolled over during the crash. At least 2 people were hospitalized following the crash, with 1 in critical condition but stable as of Tuesday evening. It is currently unclear what caused the crash. It is under investigation. Severe damage was left to a home home on Government Farm Road Tuesday afternoon in Jefferson County after the kitchen caught fire. The incident unfolded around noon. Firefighters responded to the home on Government Farm Road and found heavy smoke. The fire was contained to the kitchen. However, the home sustained smoke and heat damage throughout the residence. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 51. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 34 tonight, partly cloudy skies. Chance for showers tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 61. Cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 47 degrees.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Neese Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Neese Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Neese Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And, but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show rolling on. Thanks for listening to it. Yeah, Brett, I think you've got a good idea here. I've thought about something like that. Tom and I talk about this sometimes in between segments where we get these ideas about what they could do with some of these bowls and how you could incorporate them into a Labor Day weekend thing. And yeah, certainly the landscape of college football is changing radically in a lot of ways, and how they go about implementing bowls and certain traditions of yesteryear into the modern era. It's constantly going to change. I was surprised to see that, look, the New Year's Six averaged 2.7 million viewers. The 33 games outside that New Year's Six, it's impressive.
Well, I think, you have in college basketball preseason elite tournaments. They've had that forever and a day. It's expanded out to now you're saying, well, we're playing in the Peach State West Coast left-hand side of the road classic. Like, oh, really? The left-hand side of the road this year. Who are we facing? Well, Marquette, St. Leo, and FAU. You're like, wow. Okay, cool. We'll play St. Leo first. Marquette plays FAU. Winner gets to take home the trophy.
You can't say St. Leo without me thinking about that time they came in here and beat us in baseball.
Did they?
Yeah, 1-0. Kid pitched a gym.
That's awesome.
Yeah, years and years ago.
I went to it was an academic competition in high school at St. Leo. It looked like it was like you think it might look. It's old. It's an old place, St. Leo. But if you had that concept and you applied it to the first week or week 0 of college football, which it sounds like week 0 is going to eventually become week 1 so they can space all these things out better.
Right.
And so that the playoff doesn't have to bleed into late January. I think they're trying to start it earlier so they can end it earlier. And I would be all for that. But let's say the Rose Bowl site hosted a series of games, or at least 2. You got a game on Saturday, a game on Sunday at the Rose Bowl site. Same thing, Orange Bowl. You got a game on Saturday, you got a game on Sunday. Who's against that? And especially as you expand the playoff to 16, I know 14 in the middle, they're going to get to 16.
But yes, they are.
You can now
it's
have
too many, by the way. 16 is too many.
You could do a crossover series, B1G versus SEC, and you could get all that, fun hoopla out there of conference versus conference and pit them against each other and have a series of games at these bowl sites. That's how you would help with the monetization of it. But I mean, look, if the non-important bowls are still doing numbers, then they have no incentive to change anything right now.
I think those numbers are going to drop precipitously, and it will happen within the next year or two. I think this might have been a holdover, one last holdover, where you have, and also I don't know. You suggested it a moment ago. You might be right. We could throw darts at the board or ideas, spitball it if you want. Did the holidays being in the middle of the week have anything to do with it? Just people laying on their couch all through the week watching more of these bowl games? I don't know.
It could be.
Like they weren't out and about because it wasn't a weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're stuck in betwixt and between.
Yeah.
And so you're watching more of these games for that reason. I mean, live sports still has more value than anything else in television these days.
Oh, well, 100%.
The top 100. Did you see this graphic on social media? The top 100 broadcasts in the last year. It's basically 80% or 85% football, of which most of it is NFL. There's some college in there.
Yeah.
It's a baseball game every once in a while. Caitlin Clark's Final Four game made it this year in the top 100.
Well, there's a whole chart of Caitlin Clark games that the WNBA viewership went up 48% this year.
Yep. And then in terms of the top 100, you got a World Series game or two with the Yankees and the Dodgers, and then you got award shows, the Oscars, the Grammys, and that's it. Like that's all that does numbers these days. It's not Game of Thrones. It's not Everybody Loves Raymond or Seinfeld or whatever. It's only sports. So I doubt they have the impetus to change it. The only thing I'd like to see maybe is one more round of on-campus playoff games. I think that would be cool. And you could take some of those bowls out of the rotation and then do the preseason thing instead, the preseason tournaments.
Most watched college football teams of 2024. I got that for you right here. Now, here's what's disturbing. And I keep going back to this, and it's my daily, hey, man, we need to get out of here. The longer we're sitting, you're seeing where the money goes. You're seeing what's happening. The landscape is shifting. Florida State, as Florida State's administration and coaching staff is fond of pointing out, as are we. But, that's a major brand, right? An iconic brand, some would say. And so even when we're bad a lot of times in past years, you've looked at these numbers and you'd see a game featuring Florida State as one of the most watched games of the year. These are the most watched college football teams for 2024. And they have, what they use is an average per game viewership in the millions is what they use, okay? Who do you think is number one?
Ohio State?
Close. Georgia's
really?
number one.
That Clemson game helped to start the season, I suppose.
8.6. Now, and that's Georgia by a lot. Ohio State is second.
Okay.
Who do you think is third?
Notre Dame?
Alabama. Who do you think's fourth?
Notre Dame?
Texas.
I'm going to keep guessing Notre Dame.
No, the answer is no. Their ratings aren't great.
Really?
No.
They played USC this year? They had a couple more high-profile games?
Sucked. Yeah. No. Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Texas. You're going to see a trend here, guys. Tennessee, Michigan, Texas A&M.
See, Michigan's up there, and they weren't any good.
Well, they're the defending national champions. There's a holdover. We know how this works. Michigan, Texas A&M, LSU, Florida, Kentucky. We got to go. We've got to go. There's nobody but SEC and Big Ten in this list. Nobody. And it's not close. Yeah, you go back and look at the last 3 years for this stat. You can find it, and you'll see how it's shifting. Now, there's always been blue bloods. There's always been, sort of an omnipresence for some of these programs. Ohio State and Michigan is always going to have they are always going to have viewership numbers that are way up there. Georgia you get because they've been the dynasty as of late. They've been the dominant program in college football. Alabama you get because of the sustained dominance for a long period of time. And when you win that many national titles and play for that many and are involved in high-profile games like that, that's going to carry over for years.
It does. It's also self-fulfilling because of that reputation. They're going to put you in better time slots. They get better ratings.
All of it. That's why you want to kick down the door and be there.
Of course.
Absolutely. It's why Florida State. Think about Florida State's TV juggernaut status. Well, what was that born out of? The 90s. It was born out of Bobby Bowden turning Florida State into an annual national championship contender at a time when people were beginning to embrace college football. It was becoming en masse on television. Your ability to see teams all around the country broadened thanks to cable in the 90s. And who was always kicking ass in the 90s? We were. So was Nebraska. So was Florida and Miami. But that carried over. That affects us to this day on the positive. But, this is why we got nervous when we were going through what was tabbed the lost decade, was that, all these middling seasons we were having there towards the end of Bowden's career, people began to wonder, were we going to go the way of Nebraska?
Yep. Or Miami.
Right. Because you can fall off that list if you suck. And you suck long enough, that's what happens. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with. Tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
Time. It's the one thing we never get back. We can't create it. We can't buy it. We can't store it somewhere. Once it's gone for good, which makes it the most valuable thing we have. The only real question is how we spend our time. So, how much time are you spending every day running in circles with a computer network using old software on old equipment that's wasting your time, that gets in the way and leaves you feeling angry and frustrated? Let's fix that. Call Crown Networking. They've been helping people just like you and I make the best use of their time for the last 20 years. Now is the time for you to make the call. Here's the number in Tallahassee, 850-999-0090. 999-0090, or online at crownnetworking.com. Oh, and talk to them about getting you a new phone system, too. It's time.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WBFT, Crescent, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee.
There's a possibility that Brian Flores could be returning to the state of Florida, the former Dolphins coach who is currently serving as the Vikings defensive coordinator. Well, the Jaguars have announced that they have requested permission to interview Flores to be their new head coach. He is available for a virtual interview after the Vikings wildcard game against the Rams if Minnesota wins. But if they were to lose, he would then be available for in-person interviews next week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting ready for their playoff game on Sunday. They are going to match up against Washington. College basketball yesterday. Florida State, they pick up a victory over Miami, winning 80-65. Central Florida defeats Colorado 75-74. This Sports Flash is brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun, and Gold. More than you might expect with two great locations in Tallahassee. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair. Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Joe Montana here. In my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. Are you 50 or older like me? The CDC now recommends vaccination against pneumococcal disease. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at increased risk and over 6 times greater risk of hospitalization with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50. Schedule your appointment today at vaxassist.com.
This is Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. There are many companies out there selling pest treatment programs at prices which seem too good to be true. Like most things, you get what you pay for. Let's separate the fact from the fiction. Fiction. The price these companies offer includes all visits needed to keep a home pest-free. Fact. Their prices only include regular visits for exterior treatment. If you encounter pests inside your home, these companies will charge you for additional visits. Is that really pest prevention? At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we always apply exterior treatments, but our plan includes a significant difference. Whenever you encounter an interior problem, Paul's technicians are there, usually the same day you call, and there is no extra charge. With ProShield, you'll never pay extra for providing the service we promised. Pest prevention for your home, and we'll be there as many times as needed to honor our commitment with no extra charge. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a local company that proudly served the Tallahassee area for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites and any other pests,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
And we make lawns greener, too.
This is G. Deckerhoff. In 1979, my friend Guy Moore opened his first store. Over 45 years later, Garnet and Gold is still providing the Seminole Nation with unique ways to show their spirit. As the last locally owned FSU merchandise source in Tallahassee, we're proud to be a part of the Florida State experience and this community. If you're a Seminole like me, this is your store. Garnet and Gold. Go Noles.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
story. I'll touch on it maybe in the third hour. Just read something funny to you that lets you know how ugly this is going to get. That Padres situation where the owner died and his wife is suing the two brothers that are running the club. She says she's the rightful owner now. Have you seen this?
I've not seen any of the latest. No.
Oh, it's juicy. It's a soap opera. Like, because she filed suit, so all these things come out like emails and texts. There's some stuff in there you're gonna be like, oh no. Well, not like it's nothing, no weird sex things or anything like that, but just. God.
It doesn't have to be that for me to go, oh no.
You're right.
Like the idea that Jim Nantz had an oil painting of himself
was one of the great revelations due to a lawsuit. That was a divorce.
That was a divorce suit.
Yeah.
And he wanted to hang an oil painting.
Oh, he did. He did hang it. He didn't want to. She had to see it every day she went into the house. He had an oil painting of himself above the fireplace. That is fantastic. What do you think he's doing in the painting? Is he just sitting regal? Is he in his suits? Hello, friends.
Yeah, it's up there with the centaur painting of Alex Rodriguez that he wanted to hang above the fireplace, I think it was.
Well, that they all hang it above the fireplace. That's where Jim Nantz's was.
I thought they wanted to hang his above his bed. One of them wanted to have it above the bed.
Oh, that would be A-Rod. Yeah, no, Jim had it above the fireplace. I'm sure he's in a...
That's kind of okay,
It's
actually.
ridiculous is what it is.
And it says, hello, friends, and it starts the fire.
Imagine walking into your house and there's a picture of you above the fireplace. It's a giant oil painting.
But you would know me, and you'd be like, that's actually kind of funny.
No, that would be funny because I would think that it was a play on The Sopranos when he had the general painting.
Yeah. And he changed it to Napoleon.
Yeah. It was Paulie Walnuts did it for it, and he was on a horse, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was next to the horse that died in the fire.
Well, which we knew that was the end of it for your boy.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, I was like, you got to kill Ralphie with the quickness. Screw that guy. He burnt the horse. We're done here.
Yeah, well, it really tests you as a viewer that you think the horse is the last straw, given what you saw him do to the Lady of the Night earlier in his character development.
Yeah. Well, it was the last straw. That's the way it was. That's how anti-heroes work.
I mean, ridiculous. And then also the poor guy that didn't tip. Or was that not Ralphie?
I think that was Ralphie.
I think it might have been.
Yeah, screw him.
The guy who didn't get tipped?
No, the Ralphie.
You're
Ralphie. Screw Ralphie.
Yeah. $2.
So there's a lot of guys that you wanted to see killed in The Sopranos. I mean, every episode they tested your patience. You're like, I'm about done with him. Somebody needs to whack him. I mean, that's how we become as viewers in The Sopranos. By season 3, you've got your favorites, you got your people, because there's honor amongst thieves. And you either play the game the right way or the wrong way. There are lines you can cross even within the realm of criminality. We all know this.
Yeah. I ended up, you're right. You do like some of them more than others. And what you want to see is when the bad guy is necessary to take down another bad guy, like from the outside. There's the devastating scene with the therapist. You're like, let Tony know. Tell Tony. Let him do it. And that's the whole point of the episode. She says no as it rolls credits. That's just powerful. But you want him. You're like, this is where you use the monster. Have the monster be your guide.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the Paul Newman line to Tom Hanks when they're in the basement of the church. And he says the thing about, it's criminal. And he's talking about his son stealing from him. And he goes, there are only criminals in this room. You're like, ooh, it's a great line. And he says it with conviction. You're like, well, but you understand that there are levels to this. Like you can't. Yeah, got it. We're all criminals. Got it. Yeah. If there's a heaven, we ain't going. I understand. But this is above and beyond. Because that's true. When you read a play or a movie or a book like that, a novel, there are people who are like, oh, well, they're all engaged in some sort of immoral activity or unjust or illegal or whatever it might be. But there are varying degrees to which you're like, well, that's okay, though. In that world, you can do that.
Without a doubt, the two funniest moments in The Sopranos are one of them you referenced, which is the painting. What is this? It's Napoleon.
The other's the ketchup in the woods. Put some ketchup on it.
For me, it was the headstone for Peeps, and it says like, "Here lies Peeps." And Tony goes, "Peeps, Peeps."
Oh, I'm telling you, man. The
His name's Pepitone. Peeps.
His Peeps. I'm telling you that painting above the fireplace, I remember reading that. Didn't that come out in The Smoking Gun? Is that even still a website? The Smoking Gun was hilarious.
I never heard of it.
Oh, yeah. I used to go to The Smoking Gun all the time because they would have all these court filings and, anything that became accessible to the public and submitted. And you could read like, they have autopsy reports on there and everything else. Usually it's profiling a famous person of some kind, either in politics or athletics or, the arts of some kind. And it's always, every time you'd go look at it, you'd be like, oh my God, that's certainly interesting. But the Jim Nantz stuff was incredible. You know what else was incredible? And it hasn't harmed him. But remember the divorce filings? And I'm going to move on and get to some other stuff here in a second. Remember the divorce filings for the Giants defensive end who's now on Good Morning America? Strahan. Do you remember the divorce filing for that?
No.
Oh, my goodness. That's where you're like, man, because when you go through a divorce and both of you have some issues, some things that if they were to become public is not going to be a good look. Imagine the trepidation when you're a celebrity in that situation, knowing that this stuff is going to come out. The accusations, like discovery happens in these cases. And once it does, it gets out there. And there's some things. It's like the Marv Albert stuff that you learned later on. You're like, oh, Marv with a wig and fake teeth. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Marv. Marv's getting freaky deaky out here. I think there were stockings involved.
Yeah, there were. That I remember from the 90s because I was in elementary school and my buddy told me about that and he got in trouble for talking about it.
Well, it was one of the greatest things I ever read. My man was wearing stockings and he had fake teeth and a wig. Like, hello. He opens the door.
He opens the door. Yeah.
You could never watch or listen to a game again the same way. You couldn't help yourself. To his credit, he just kept on keeping on. He was gone for a year. We welcome Marv Albert back to the booth. Hey, guys.
Less salacious, but it's like Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
I do like feet.
I like the feet.
You got me.
Yeah.
Haul me away. Here you go.
Yeah. I love feet, fellas. Now, see, the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm would have used that as a great example. My man was not dead to rights. Same type thing. It came out however it came out. It was text or something like that, whatever it was. And, we all found out that Rex Ryan, for whatever reason, has a foot fetish. It's a thing. Everybody's got a thing. His thing's the feet. He loves feet. And, there's two things that helped him there. This is weird, but he really likes his wife's feet. It wasn't
right.
Somebody
That was
else.
his answer.
These are my wife's feet. I like my wife's feet. Beyond what most people think about feet, I really like feet. And he was all in. But they were his wife's feet that he was really in on. And then second, when he was asked about it after he got caught or whatever, he's like, yeah, so I like feet. It's my thing. Okay. You win. Where are you going to go with it? He took ownership of it right away.
That's why I coach this sport. It's called football.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing you could do. You could just say, okay. You could just say at that moment, you're like, I guess we'll move on. He answered it in the affirmative. Yes, he likes feet. He likes his wife's feet. Yeah, so what? What are we going to do? I like fat women, Jeff. Okay. Well, there's nothing I can do with it. All right. Why do you think my wife's 600 pounds? Right. You like fat women. Got it. Yeah.
More power to you.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Clemson.
Oh, how did we get here?
I don't know.
That is,
I like feet. I do not know why. Remember that? It's very sneaky.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
John Turturro.
Yeah, John Turturro. Oh, you scared me. Very sneaky.
Very sneaky, sir.
Yeah. I do remember that. All right, back to the show. Sorry. Hard right turn. I was going to tell you this all story because I wanted you to know that the Peter Seidler, the owner of the Padres who died, his two brothers are fighting with his ex-wife about the team and who should be running it and owning it and all that. And then as I read this story, there's some things exchanged here between the Seidlers and Sheil, his wife, who's a yoga instructor. And yeah, she's cute. That's an aside. But yeah. And you read this and you go, oh no, no, how did it get this ugly? There are emails sent to one another where it's people have got to learn. I had to learn the lesson the hard way all those years ago doing the morning show when I ripped the Tiger Sharks for not paying their bills to an emailer who then forwarded my email to the Tiger Sharks upper brass. Lesson learned. Can't air the grievances in the email. Those are captured, especially when you do a morning show, as I was doing at the time. Went live at 6 a.m., which meant I was in the studio every day at 4 a.m. Nobody else was in the building at 4 a.m. The email I sent back to the woman who forwarded it to the Tallahassee Tiger Sharks was sent at 4:32 a.m. There's no other dude who could have done. I couldn't have been like, oh, no, somebody must have. It was me. They knew it was me. And I was like, okay. And rest in peace, Lee Bowen was like, why'd you put it in the email? Come on, you're done. You're done. I don't care that you yelled at that lady and told her what you thought about the situation with the Tiger Sharks. But you put it in the email. Now we're done. We're cooked here. No reasonable person doesn't think that's you, especially the way you wrote it. I wonder if that woman's still around.
Listening right now.
That told on me. What kind of, I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm going to forward his email to the Tiger Sharks. You related to the Tiger Sharks? What are you doing? It's ridiculous.
All right. What do these people say to each other?
I can't tell you right now.
Oh.
Maybe in the third hour, I'll figure out a way to word it because it's
the no payoff.
It's a dicey deal, man. There's some things in there that are not appropriate, and I can't even think of a workaround for some of it.
Really?
Well, okay. No. Like one of the things that the sister of one of the brothers says to Sheil is racist. Oh. She's Indian, and she says something racist. God. Yeah, of course. So she in an email, which you're like, what? A, you shouldn't say it, period. But B, why are you sending that email?
First of all, don't say it. Secondly, email.
I mean, an email? You know her brother must have been like, what are you doing? This is going to come out in court. When you read it, I was drinking my coffee when I read it. I was like, this is good. I want to see where this is going to go. They should make this a regular show. I mean, there are billions at stake here. These guys were set to take control. Shield's like, no, it's my team. It's right here in these documents.
Here's what I think of you.
I was bringing up last hour some numbers, and it was centered around college football and also where college football is headed. But one of the things I wanted to bring up was that there was a story yesterday that Phil Knight, who's in his 80s, he spent a ton of money. The two highest payrolls in college football this year were Ohio State and Oregon. Okay, so obviously they play each other. One of them has to get eliminated. The great irony here for Phil Knight, by the way, is that they say he has given now in total in his life more than $1 billion back to Oregon. $1 billion. It's a school, Phil.
Where is our Phil Knight?
Well, she lives in Atlanta, and we need to get her to.
I don't need a white knight. I need a Phil Knight.
Yeah. Well, everybody could use a T. Boone Pickens or a Phil Knight. That's for sure. Phil's said to be worth over $30 billion.
Oof. Yeah, you could spare one at that point.
Of course you could. And this is over the lifetime of his relationship with Oregon. So he's given, But now he's all in because he's getting old and he knows it, and he doesn't even shy away from it. He tells people, he's like, look, man, I'm 83 years old. I'm going to be dead soon. I'd like to see us win this title that I've always wanted to see us win. Now, he ran track at Oregon, so, he's really connected in the athletics and loves, obviously, invented Nike. He loves all athletics at Oregon and gives across the board. But in particular, he loves the football program, and he'd like to see them win this national title. I will give Oregon credit, by the way. That last game, those helmets are awesome.
Yeah, they were.
Those are awesome helmets. Kudos. Sometimes they swing and miss over there at Oregon. I guess when you have 25 different uniform combinations, you're going to.
Yeah, the team did, not the helmets.
But the helmets were tight. Those look good. They should break those out a little bit more often. That said, I'm sure paid for by Phil Knight. But he was obviously bitterly disappointed that they lost to Ohio State, the team they beat earlier in the year. The irony is, of course, Ohio State is a Nike team and has one of the richest Nike deals in all of college football, and their relationship goes back 16 years, and Phil Knight was elated when he was able to get Ohio State on board because they're one of the bigger brands in all of college football. Must have kind of sucked. You're like, I'm enabling the one that's going to stab me through the chest.
I mean,
but that would be almost anybody.
We have documented it. In the last 25, 30 years, Ohio State's had 3 or 4 down seasons. I mean, it's good for business.
They're really good.
It's good for business what's happened to Phil Knight.
So that got me curious because that article cited the payrolls, the NIL payrolls for the two teams. And, okay, I thought, all right, well, let me see where we are. Now, it's hard to come by this information to get real specifics, all right? You can get in the neighborhood, and we have pretty good connections, as you guys know. So I know that the Ohio State number is said to be over 23 million. The Oregon number is over 20 million. Many think it's over 23 million from what I read this morning. So I did some checking, and I know a year ago, Tom, we were in, I'm just going to put it this way, this is how I'm going to phrase it. We were within the top 6 highest NIL payrolls in America in college football.
Okay.
Top 6.
We did good with it.
Yes. Now, this last year, we wasted that.
Yeah.
Yes. 12-ish.
Okay.
And there's a great unknown about where it's going to be this upcoming year because while Florida State's NIL is still robust compared to most, the Battle's in. I won't dance around it. Has done a great job in getting folks to become members and to help out and to do what we need to do for Florida State to be good. It's another reason why so many people get angry is they're giving large sums of money to the cause and they'd like to see you do better than 2-10. So this upcoming year, the reason it's a great mystery is now everybody knows that this money's coming down. The house money, as it's being called, is coming down. It's about to be where everybody has $20.5 million per school. That's the alleged number.
Of which they spend 80 to 90% on football. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, this is the conversation. Revenue sharing coming to college football, right? House versus NCAA settlement, give and take. NCAA conceding the schools should finally be allowed to pay players, but in exchange, it wants more power to control the NIL. That's kind of what you have here. That market, that's where that's going. That proposal calls for $2.8 billion in damages and infrastructure for schools to pay players. It was filed in July, granted preliminary approval in October. Northern District of California, the judge there, has the opportunity to give it a final rubber stamp during a hearing April the 7th, which would set the Division I revenue sharing era in motion July 1st, 2025. Yeah. That's just the backdrop. You know that, but for our listeners' sake, that's the backdrop.
Yeah, so yes, in order to devise these numbers, you've got to look at half a year in one system and half a year in the second system. That's completely different.
Right. Each D1 school would have the opportunity to share up to a certain amount of money with every player in its athletic department per year, as Tom was just alluding to. The cap would begin around $20.5 million per school, will rise to around $30 million over the next 10 years. That's what they're projecting. Schools have to pay their players, from football players to swimmers. You can look up the FAQ, which was published by the NCAA, and see what all the proposal is and all those things. So they'll have a 3-month window to figure out implementation, which you have basically athletic departments are shifting their infrastructure to hire people that really the way the NFL would look at it is salary cap managers. That's the way you'd look at it. The distribution rules are completely up in the air. In addition to some of the other things that are happening in college football for 2025 that will affect all of these conversations we're having now, you have a growing chorus of stakeholders who, as we know, have called for athletes to have more negotiating power. right? To have a louder voice in the room. And coaches have proposed collective bargaining. A group of plaintiffs in the House case have a written letter asking the judge to mandate the creation of a players' association. Federal lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have noted that players need to have this voice. They agree on this. So 2025 is going to be just as crazy as 2024, but we may get some answers, some definitive unilateral answers to the things that bug us about college football currently.
In most cases, yes. However, I saw finally an article on it this week released by Ross Dellinger on deterrence for going above and beyond the salary cap.
Okay, I've been waiting on this too, because we've both said we're for this, but
you can always go above it with a booster-led company who wants to cut a deal to a player, and this third-party agency that they're creating
has to decide whether or not
it's fair market value,
which is going to invite lawsuits.
Of course it is, and it's anything over $600.
$600 is ridiculous.
Deloitte is the firm that's going to be the third-party arbitrator
deciding on, yes.
And finally, there are quotes from people in the industry. We've been saying it for months. It's driving me nuts. How the hell are they going to enforce that? How's that legal? And plenty of coaches and people connected to the game say there's no way. There's no way that somebody in Deloitte can tell a booster-owned business in Columbus how much to pay a player. Like, it never ends. There's always going to be an above and beyond. Now, the good news is at least everybody operates from a baseline at a minimum.
Yes.
And that doesn't have zero effect. That has some significant effect on the market and roster building. But if Ohio State or Phil Knight really, really wants to go in and pay players to put them over the $20.5 million, of which they use 18 or 17 million, they could still do that.
Well, this is where the collectives will still matter.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, this is where the collectives will absolutely still matter. And it's important. I mean, listen, I say this because it's just the God's honest truth. Look, you're going to have to continue to support entities like the Battle's End.
100%. This is, there was the booster call that happened, after the season was over. And the thing was, it's going to be a cap, and then that's the end of it. And the Battle's End's going to become a marketing agency, and other collectors are becoming marketing agencies.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking.
Maybe they're brokers more than they have been, sure, and they're looking for deals, sure. But, I mean, even in the Dellinger article, it cites that these collectives still will contribute somewhere in the estimated neighborhood of $3 to $6 million over what the school, above and beyond what the school is going to provide. So you're still going to have to fundraise.
That's not nothing.
It's not nothing. And that'll keep going up. That's not going to stop there.
Well, right, until they get a handle on how they want college football to be run and by whom.
This also opens up something else. I wonder if people in professional sports get worried about situations like this, because you've got offsets, I'm sure, in the history of professional sports and salary cap sports specifically, or ones that have, ceilings on contracts, max deals in the NBA.
Yeah, sure.
Come on, man. These owners have connections and business partners, and somebody might get an endorsement deal that might put them above and beyond.
Sure.
What the
this is why
team's going to pay them, or the NBA team's going to pay.
It's 100% why also people flock to places like New York and LA. Obviously the advertising opportunities, the endorsement opportunities, much greater in a place like that than, say, Albuquerque.
They are, and you're going to have to wink, wink, nod this thing if you want to make it truly fair. If you don't, then you don't have to do it. But, if it's 20.5 in California is very different than 20.5 in Florida with the state tax laws and local tax laws. Like, if there was a great football program in New York City, I can tell you that 20.5 doesn't go very far compared to what it would do,
comparatively speaking,
in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah.
So you're going to have that conversation come up again.
Which is what I thought was interesting, though. Like, in terms of salaries, people love to say things like, oh, well, this is why so-and-so lives in Florida. He doesn't want to have to pay the taxes that he's going to have to pay as a member of the Mets or the Yankees or a member of the Los Angeles. Yeah, but that's not how that works. You're taxed on where you play the games. So, yes, there's a disproportionate number of those, 81 of them, in that state, but the other 81 are played all over hell's half acres, and they take percentages based on the state's laws.
That is correct. In football, however, it's going to be, your home state matters greatly. You play a huge sum of games in the region that you live. Now in college football, it's disproportionate because usually you get 7 out of the 12, and then you might have an in-state rival, so 8. If you're in Florida, then you schedule, hey, we're just going to magically schedule and make sure we play a bunch of teams from the state of Florida.
FAU, USF,
Right.
UCF, FIU, Florida, and Miami all on the schedule this
Right,
year.
we're doing home and homes for the tax implications of it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Well, it's a new year, and it's time to make your yard look great again. Since 2004, the Lawn Johns have been keeping Tallahassee looking beautiful. In fact, when they do such a good job on your yard, you're going to say, wow, they did a good job on my yard. If I were to rate the Lawn Johns, I would give them, just like I give myself, an A+. Everyone knows the Lawn Johns are, and I have to say, the best. So pick up the phone and call 322-2567, or you can visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
Dream it, plan it, do it. Brian Barnard's Flooring America offers a straightforward way to shop with our streamlined shopping. Finding the right flooring is simple. Visit our newly remodeled showroom featuring the Room to Explore shopping experience, where our knowledgeable staff will walk you through the steps. Our family has been serving the area since 1976 with a local staff of more than 35 people trained in flooring sales and design. We know floors and we know styles. Let us help make your home timeless. Brian Barnard's Flooring America, where friends send friends.
This is Alex from Fulmers. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Fulmers buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Fulmers for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Fulmers is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Fulmers, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations. As you probably know, Fulmers buys, sells, and loans on just about anything of value. What you might not know is that when you buy something from us, we guarantee the total satisfaction of your purchase. Buy it, take it home, and if for any reason you decide you don't want it within 7 days, Fulmers will give you 100% of your money back. And if you decide you don't want the item within 30 days, Fulmers will let you exchange it for something you do want. At Fulmers, we guarantee you're going to be happy with your purchase or we'll buy it back. Fulmers, check cashing, pawn service, and sales. 2 times more than you might expect with 2 great locations.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Oh no, stomach issues again? Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools. I thought it was my stomach. People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I'm supposed to talk. Sorry, I was busy catching up on you guys here in the chat. Carson back into the portal.
Expected to enter is the report. On3's going after it. That's a big one.
Well, look, this isn't all that surprising in the sense that we have an extra market to think about now when players are considering their next moves in football. It's like when the G League was invented, when you started seeing that, the rules were that you could go, instead of going to college or overseas, if you didn't want to go to college, you could go overseas and play. The NBA realized, there's a market for this. We need basically, in essence, minor league basketball, and it could be run by the teams themselves, and we can pay guys who don't have any interest in going to college. And, if you notice now, like the G League and these other leagues, they'll if a player makes it to the NBA and has a good night, scores 16 in his debut, if you follow any of like their Twitter or social media accounts, they promote it the way that a university does a star player. They're like, hey, Lance made it to the league last night, made his debut for OKC and scored 16. Another G League legend, or what? They'll promote it that way, the way you would if you graduated from Florida State. Or like, Florida State legend. So that's fascinating. But this is where we're going. It's like, if you're Carson Beck, you have the NFL as an option. I would contend that the best version of Carson Beck is a first-round pick. Now, he had some ups and downs, there's no doubt, and that might scare some people off, but not enough based on that high-end talent, some of those high-end throws we see from him, not enough for him not to go in the first round. But for him, it doesn't hurt you to put your name in the portal. It doesn't hurt you in any way. Let's hear what's out there. My guess is you're going to be offered a large sum of money by Notre Dame, by Miami, who's looking for a quarterback, by maybe, there's probably 2 or 3 programs out there who think they're a quarterback away or are losing a very high-profile quarterback. And we don't know how this went down, because why would you leave Georgia to go to Miami? You wouldn't. Unless you walked in there and said, look, I'll come back. And he's having surgery, remember? And he says, I'll come back to Georgia. I've loved it here. We've been successful, feel good. But the market says I'm worth $3-4 million. And they went, nah. We like Gunner over here. We're good.
The market could actually be that he's worth 6 or 7 if that report on yours is true.
Yeah, the Notre Dame report originally, then it was said that Miami offered maybe 6 to 7 million as well.
Exactly.
Right.
So at that point, if I'm Carson Beck, I'm saying, I'm better than that, stiff, because you believe in yourself, and the best of what you've done is notable, is highly notable. So you can say, I'm worth 6. Absolutely. Come on, let's go, dogs. I'll give you a hometown discount, 5.
And they said, no, we're good. We're good. You go take it on down the road, Carson. And he says, okay, thanks for everything. It's been real. I'm going to go take the gig at Notre Dame.
The average cost of a player is going to go up anyway, for especially a high-profile quarterback, because you have a larger pool of money to work with. If everybody, just to piggyback on the last segment, if everybody's got a baseline of 20.5 for the athletic department, of which they're going to give 80 to 90% to football, well, you are operating at a higher place than most collectors were already looking. And if you can spend on your collective level another 6, you're at $22-23 million to build a roster. How much is your quarterback worth? A significant percentage of that total roster cost.
Yeah. He has to be very, very good. It'd be nice.
There will be some whiffs, just like at the NFL level.
And it's devastating. It's devastating when you whiff there. It's far less devastating in the NFL than it used to be. But
it's not a quarter of your roster cost.
It's out of control back in the day. You were screwed.
It's where they need slotting for years of experience and position.
I'm gonna laugh if Miami pays Carson Beck $6 to $7 million to go down there and play.
Maybe it's Phil Knight. You were just talking about him.
Yeah, that's that guy. Is Oregon looking for a quarterback? Yeah, they are. I'm assuming. It's something to consider. But if you're a high profile like that, if you got that kind of juice, like when he's right, when Carson Beck is playing well, he very much looks like the best quarterback in the country. The problem he's had is he's been wildly inconsistent. He's had these moments where, for whatever reason, it has to be between the ears. I mean, there are high-level throws, highlight tape throws for him that nobody else makes, or very few make in college. It's why coming into the year, the expectation was that he was the Heisman frontrunner and that he was a surefire first-round pick. He had moments where you go, yep, I see it. And then there were times where you're like, ooh, this ain't it.
I feel like if there are live odds released on this, if he officially enters the portal, Miami has to be the betting favorite, because the desperation factor, I mean, we heard this weeks ago. They were asking around. people connected to Austin, Texas, people connected in other markets. Hey, that kid can enter the portal. They go in. I mean, they are desperate. So desperation meets somebody who's trying to make a quick buck and actually has talent and can play. It's a nice match.
The thing of it is, though, they just did it and came up as empty as you can come up. Didn't make the championship round at all in the ACC. Didn't make the, listen, we know what they did. They came up short like they always do. And you're going to do it again? I mean, I'd like to know the guy that's writing those checks, because sweet Jesus, that was a colossal failure. They would say it's not. We won 10 games.
Well, they don't have to worry about spending money on basketball anymore.
They spent $1 gazillion on basketball. To have Larinaga, come on, you got to be better than that, Jim. This is ridiculous. Whoa, ridiculous. Most high-profile, pay-to-play Final Four team in history. This isn't the way. Yeah, I get it, man. It's not.
We're not good this year, so I'm done.
Yeah. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. With the portal, we've learned. A couple Florida teams have now figured this out. It can be a tough landing if you make a mistake. Yeah, I saw that as well. Adam Rashada is in the portal as well. Third time. Great. Can you imagine? I mean, that when he's got the lawsuit against Sunbelt Billy, I think he's suing for $14 million.
Yeah, it's in the teens.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's absurd.
I think they have stuff in some kind of writing, don't they? That was openly reported.
It was openly reported.
Before it was a problem.
Wasn't it reported originally that it was $9 million?
Yeah, it kept going up. Yeah.
Well, that was when Florida was incredibly disorganized as it pertains to
like individual dudes.
Yeah, just dudes. Yeah, it was like a guy that owned a car lot. I'll give you $14 million to be our quarterback.
You don't say. He owned a what?
Yeah. Wasn't one of their main boosters or the original guy, I think, behind one of the many collectives that Florida had at the time? Wasn't he responsible for providing the coffee to car dealerships throughout the state? That's where he made his money.
It sounds so specific. I'm going to believe you.
It's ridiculous. I remember thinking, well, damn it, man. That's absurd. Hey, there's a little bag of coffee. What do you say?
I call it Carfine.
Ridiculous.
$9.99 a month. 10 bags.
Tried and True Consulting, my boys, back at it, busy. Going to be in town again real soon. I look forward to seeing them. Scan that QR code there and get more information. They're looking for businesses still that are wanting to utilize the wall space at their place, of course. If you have an existing TV, they'll come in and set this all up for free. If you don't, they'll provide one for you. If you're a bar, you're a restaurant, you've got a waiting room at the dentist's office, something along those lines, you may want to participate in this. They do so many things. I've mentioned this before. They're a payments and business solutions company, and they're owned by fellow Knowles. Doing a lot of good things in town, too. I really appreciate my friends at Tried and True Consulting. They are Seminole-owned, and they specialize in payments and business solutions, as I said before. They support the Battles In, that's for sure. Give 10% of their net revenue back to the cause. You can give them a call today, 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653.
Your local news now.
The man is behind bars after a shooting occurred Sunday night in a shopping center in Quincy. Reginald Clark was arrested and faces charges of attempted murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon in connection to the shooting. He's also charged with possessing a firearm with a modified serial number. The incident unfolded just before 9:15 p.m. Sunday in the parking lot of a shopping center located off North Cleveland Street. Clark, whom police said owns a barbershop in the shopping center, shot another business owner. At this time, police said the circumstances regarding what led up to the shooting are unknown. The investigation is ongoing. 2 people died early Saturday morning in Chattahoochee after a home on Water Street went up in flames. Officials arrived on the scene and found the home fully engulfed. At this time, the cause of the fire is unknown. Chattahoochee police are working with the state fire marshal to determine the cause of the fire. This is Rachel Anae with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Ample sunshine expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 51. Northeasterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 34 tonight, partly cloudy skies. Chance for showers tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 61. Cloudy skies expected. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 51.
Sarah here with Seminole Auto Glass. Hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up?
It's turkey season. Have you hit one yet?
A turkey? No.
Good for you, because we've seen more turkey suicides than anything lately.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we had a pretty foul morning.
Oh.
But our customer just went to Seminole Auto Glass and uploaded their insurance card. We got them back on the road with feathers flying in no time. Hey, Greg, which side of a turkey has more feathers? The outside.
Oh.
Better call Seminole.
Seminole Auto Glass. Call 850-539-4527.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, it's funny. I see in the chat where the Carson Beck hits the portal conversation was being, bantied back and forth, and somebody said that we should put a bid in. Doesn't fit our offense. Doesn't fit the offense we're about to run in any way, shape, or form.
So this is how it works. It's like Lemmings, because NACO's had it. Famil has to tweet something, because they're all in competition against each other. Miami is the favorite, but NACO's is reporting that Ohio State and Texas Tech are two other teams to watch. Now,
well, Texas Tech has been the big spender. They've been the one.
Brinks truck, man.
Yeah, Texas Tech decided to go all in. That's why you see their numbers. When you look at the portal rankings, they're all in. And, this has opened the door for programs like that to change who they are. And that's good for college football. That part of it's good. I like that aspect of it. I hate the unlimited transfers. I think that is really the problem. Everybody likes to blanketly say NIL is the problem. It's the unlimited transfers. That's the problem. I don't care if a kid makes $1 million to play college football, because coaches were making $12 million a year and then they were doing whatever they wanted, leaving, striking deals on the side, doing all this other stuff. No, that's fine. Pay the players. That's fine. But we need to have, as I've said before, rules that are unilateral. Everybody abides by them. Either, it's like James Franklin, by the way, the other day. I think that was interesting. Did you see the press conference? He was, they have the team press conferences, and Franklin, he screwed up. He didn't mean to say what he said, but then he had to go all in. And he was talking about, we're just here representing the Big Ten. We're excited to do so. I think, everybody's excited to represent their conference. And then he realized Notre Dame didn't belong to a conference. And you could see his brain working. And he goes, well, Notre Dame's not in a conference, but, I think everybody should either be in a conference or not. And I think we should do. And he just started to go down that road and took a shot at Notre Dame. And I thought that was interesting. But I don't think he, he didn't really misspeak on the next two or three things he said about college football. He wanted a czar of college football. He wanted somebody to run the sport, to have a say, that had the best. We all do. We'd like college football to have some sort of structure that everybody's agreed upon here. We don't have it. We have, what is somewhat of an absurd system currently.
Yeah, in which there are two pals who are getting along right now in the SEC and the Big Ten because they are the ones that have the most TV income. So they know, and the most ratings. So they're the ones that'll work together to that end.
Yeah, that ratings list certainly solidifies what we already know, and that is that the Big Ten and the SEC control college football.
Yep. And therefore, they control the next wave of negotiations, which come in 2030, I believe. Is that the next negotiating
The
window?
Big Ten's media rights deal is worth $1.15 billion annually and runs until 2030. The SEC's deal is worth $710 million per year and runs to 2034.
There might be a look in 2030. I feel like there were multiple, maybe it's the Big Ten and the Big 12. I feel like there are multiple leagues that have.
The Big Ten's 2030.
Yeah, multiple leagues in addition to the Big Ten.
Okay.
I feel like there are multiple. Maybe there's an opt-out. Maybe there's a look-in, something along those lines.
ESPN has a look-in, obviously, with the ACC in next month.
10 minutes.
Yeah, February. Yeah, so February. But that's $1.15 billion annually with Fox, NBC, and CBS for the Big Ten. The SEC's deal, obviously, $710 currently annually, and it's with ESPN and goes to 2034. This is what we said before. Like, in the past, you could suspect certain levels of favoritism, and you would hear it in the descriptors of announcers, in the way they talked about certain teams. It made it abundantly clear whom they were paid by or who they worked for. But now ESPN and the SEC are truly partners, and their broadcasters are truly partners with the SEC. And so you have what we've seen play out.
I was trying to just get a sense of, the market, because there is a secondary quarterback market. Now Beck is leading the way, but Milroe entered the transfer portal, and it's a consolation prize, but it's not nothing. If you're a program looking to make a splash, you run that kid 20 times a game and you got yourself an offense.
Would you bring Milroe in here?
Here? I don't see why not. If you had unlimited funds
to run Malzahn's offense.
Now you've already made your choice. That'd be a tough-ish sell, I would think, to the locker room to get like the one that was just constructed. But he's a fit for this offense in a way Beck is not.
I was just about to say he is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not shooting for a national title, I'd like to win 10 games and get to the ACC championship. I think Milroe gives you a better shot than Castellanos, but I'm sure the checks have already cleared. I don't know how you could change course in the middle of it.
It's just fun to kick
I'm
around.
just saying, if you got, Texas Tech out there and Beck is on the market, Milroe would be a good get for Texas Tech, I would think. I don't know what their offensive philosophy is, but I would change it for Jalen Milroe. I'm Texas Tech. I just want wins.
Yeah.
That guy will get you some wins.
You would run him to death, which is exactly what I would do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I would pay him handsomely to run him to death. The question is, when let's say the House settlement goes through, and these, like Alford was saying, you have these talent contracts that are separate from their grant and aids. You have these NIL deals that schools sign with players. If they're a state institution, can we start reporting on the numbers at that point? If you have a $20.5 million cap for the academics, so when Carson Beck says yes to Miami or Texas Tech, will the numbers actually get reported in the near future here so that we have hard numbers so the market is defined? I hope that we get to that point.
What's interesting, by the way, and I know this happened at Florida State. All schools do this, so this is not like unique to Florida State. But, now it's like a cottage industry. There are these companies that will measure like the Q ratings of your players for all the sports in college. They do it for college. They've been doing it for pros, obviously, for marketing deals for star players, even average players at the pro level. But now they're doing it because all of this NIL exists, and they'll go to schools pay these groups to come in, like they do with coaching searches. There's committees that come in and tell you, or firms that will come in and say, yeah, this should be your next guy. And for Florida State, this is crazy to think about, but I was reading an article and then I was making bets. I'm not going to lie to you. I was making bets for golf this week. The second most, like if they judge clicks and they judge all of these, the way they measure your popular
the value of your personal brand.
Yeah, I guess that's what you would say. Yes. It's probably not a good sign. I mean, I'm not trying to besmirch the kid, but who's number 2 for Florida State?
I can guess.
Luke Clanton.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on.
Well, if she were still here, Castellanos, the soccer player,
yes.
Dana.
Yeah, she was.
Dana would have been
one of the best in the world.
Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, would have been in a world unto herself.
Listen, we all know the deal. Let's not kid ourselves. We don't have to beat around the bush here. If you're a hot chick who plays sports, you're going to do quite well on social media. The clicks abound. Men are visual. We're pretty surface level creatures. I mean, the girlfriend of Paul Skeens. Yeah, she's a very talented gymnast. Great. That ain't why anybody's clicking on those videos. So she's made millions and now sports Viore and does splits in commercials and makes a lot of money for it. Literally, that's what she does. And nobody cares that she's a talented gymnast. But she was probably number one at LSU, I would assume. Probably not even close. Not even close.
Leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Just like what you were describing. But anyhow, Clanton's number 2 at Florida State, and that's ridiculous. I mean, I like Luke Clanton, and yay, Clanton. Good. Go get it.
Yay, Clanton.
Yeah, love FSU golf, but we don't come on, man. That shows you how much we suck at football. What are we doing? That is
Who's
man.
number 1? Jamie Arnold?
Painful. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk, Great Warchant TV. Hour number 3, 4th. Can we stay with?
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
There's no heating and
The best happy hour in the city is at Café de Martín and El Bar. All day, every day, you can find great deals at Café de Martín while enjoying the best outdoor seating Tallahassee has to offer. Sip away on 2-for-1 house wines, chilcanos, and margaritas all day long, Monday through Thursday. Plus 2-for-1 pisco sours and margaritas on Fridays and Saturdays, and 2-for-1 mimosas for Sunday brunch. Come join us at Café de Martín, where every hour is happy hour, in the Esposito Shopping Center on Capitol Circle Northeast.
Oh, whoa! Check out Pinch a Penny. We're stocked to the rafters with Hot Spring Spas, a recognized leader. Imagine the fun of the holidays with warmth, relaxation, and lovely bubbles. Oh, it's 30 home spas for you to see right now. Affordable right now, too. Up to $2,000 off. Or special financing. Ask for details. Is the world stressing you out? Fight back. Pinch a Penny. Now.
Home for the best FSU football coverage, presence across and podcast. Largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Never forget
that moment.
As long as I live. My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guards in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
WBFT Greater Tallahassee. 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the NFC South champions, hosting the Washington Commanders Sunday. NFC wildcard game at Raymond James Stadium for the total is 50.5. Orange Bowl today, Hard Rock Stadium. Notre Dame a 1.5 favorite over Penn State, 44.5 the total. Penn State All-American defensive end Abdul Carter, a game-time decision. Finding Irish running back Jeremiah Love, the team's leading rusher, expected to play. Tomorrow in the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State laying 6 against Texas. North Florida, a 3-point dog at Eastern Kentucky today. Jacksonville laying 6 on the road at Bellarmine, while Stetson's a 2-point favorite at home with Central Arkansas. $250 bonus and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Something amazing is happening in data management. Even though storage needs are constantly changing, companies are only paying for what they need now. That's because CDW customized a Pure Storage Evergreen One SLA-driven storage as a service solution that delivers enterprise-grade hybrid cloud storage that is effortless, efficient, and evergreen. Simplify storage administration with Pure Storage at CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/purestorage.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Facing Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee.
Foreman, you look so twisted. What did you do now?
Well, Hank the alligator needed his teeth brushed, and when I bent over to give him a scrub, my back popped like an afternoon lightning storm in Florida. And now I can't even stand up.
You need to go to FinChiro.com and schedule your new patient appointment right away at FinChiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com.
I'm really busy. I don't want to leave Hank in the orange grove unattended for too long.
Fin Chiropractic will get you in right away, and they get to the cause of your problems. So go to FinChiro.com and make your new patient appointment. There is even an online discount.
Discount? That's a good thing because my purse is a little light since I bought Hank a new gold chain.
You have to take care of yourself if you want to be able to take care of your alligator, Hank. Make your appointment now. Go to FinChiro.com.
Well, hold my pina colada. I'm going to FinChiro.com.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthy. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
happy I could celebrate this for once. A lot of times I shudder to think before I click on the link to see what time high-profile game is going to be played. Generally speaking, we get some sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock type kickoff for big moments in football, and you go, on a weeknight, I wondered if they're going to do that. No, they're not. 7:30 p.m.
I like it. I'm with you.
I like it. Absolutely like it. Let's go. A little post-dinner, sit down, watch me some Penn State, Notre Dame over at a reasonable hour. We get up early around these parts. Let's go.
That's right. If you're living in Seattle, go in early to work so you can leave early and watch the game at 4:30. That's your problem.
That would be cool. I mean, that part, when my dad lived in Denver, he was always like, man, this is awesome. These little 10 a.m. kickoffs when we were playing at noon.
We were embedded at Newport Beach for the championship game, the Vizio National Championship game.
That's right.
That media suite had wall-to-wall televisions. I mean, a ballroom in a hotel, wall-to-wall televisions. And we would get done with the show, and it would be 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Didn't suck.
No. And then by the time you got the equipment all taken around, get a bite, you come back, oh, you're in the first quarter of the game, and it's 4 o'clock local. This is wonderful.
People, I'm jealous of this all the time for people who have the beneficial time zone of which you speak. I have friends who will call me like, yeah, we're going to watch the game. Obviously, Knowles kick off early here. And I'm like, right. And I'll do the math. And they're like, then we'll probably go out and, I don't know, I'm going to play golf later. And then I'm like, you can do that, can't you?
There's this whole other day.
A whole other second half of the day. Yeah. Yeah, I am a little envious of that. But I say that to say this. It's 7:30 tonight. That is perfectly reasonable. All right. Good job, Capital One Orange Bowl. A little 7:30 kickoff tonight down in Miami. Be nice weather. Oh, I'd love to go. Got a couple friends that are going. That'd be fun. That's a good game.
It's a reminder to go find the Skycast. It was on ESPNU a lot for the last round.
You love the Skycast, right? No announcers?
No play-by-play, no analysis. It is the wire camera, and it is the PA announcer and the sounds of the crowd. The PA announcer from the stadium. It's awesome. The only thing you miss are extra points and maybe a short field goal because they take that camera and they put it to the sidelines.
Yeah.
So then you just kind of have to listen for it. But
or just flip over. But yeah, that's absolutely. Well, I would say this. There's a huge benefit to that. I don't. If the announcing team is good, I don't mind listening to the announcers. Like if it's a good team, there's several good partnerships where you're like, oh, these two are good. I can listen to these two. Everybody's got their favorites, but if the team is good that does the game, I don't mind listening to broadcasters. I actually like to listen to coaches too when they to do the one kind of broadcast where they're all in the room.
Yeah,
talking about the plays.
That was cool back in the day.
That was fun. I mean, because they would. Coaches obviously take it up a notch. Like, oh, you know what they're about to do here, and they would all predict the play coming up next. Like you could see how quickly they get it right.
Yeah, right. You see the snap, and they go, oh, and the ball hasn't even reached the quarterback's hands yet, but they see whatever the safeties are doing.
They're like, oh, they got him. They got him.
We missed the throw.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, but that was my favorite part because a coach, they would reveal to you in that moment just the frustrations. You're like, this is the right play called against this look. And they would see it pre-snap, and they would say, we got it. We got it. Then you just have to wait with bated breath to see do they execute it because it's still played by humans. Yep, right call against the blitz. We got the screen called against the blitz. You threw it at his feet. Or in our case, early in the season, you dropped it.
One thing I saw before I took that fateful nap for the Texas-Arizona State game, and I woke up and I thought, oh, what?
It's a game. It's a game.
Was you could see on the Skycast. I know that Scattaboo got in a lot of social media trouble, and there was blowback because he was being a child on the sidelines.
Yes, he was.
Okay. So you could see early on, they've got a lot of problems on that offense. Now, I know he's gone, right? And the quarterback decided to come back. But he did something wrong for either a protection or a route on a third down in the first quarter. And the quarterback is letting Scattaboo have it. And he's not stopping. It's like the Jimbo Jameis things where he chased him. He kept on following him and grabbing his shoulder and said, turn around and look at me as they're walking off the field. And then the two of them are yelling back and forth at each other, and then they're having to be taken off the field, and it's taken to the sideline. And then there was a receiver who had a moment like that as well. So, woo, a lot of cooks in the kitchen here at Arizona State.
Well, let me just say again, I think you're going to see more and more of that. It is an aspect of the game that's going to exist now in ways that it didn't before, or more often, because you're going to have players making a lot of money, B, 40 transfers. And a loyalty to you. I just came from this other school. I'll leave here tomorrow and go to another one. I wasn't built by this program. I didn't come up through the muck with everybody else as a freshman and get on the field for the first time when I was a redshirt junior. And now I've bought in, and I've done the heavy lifting with my brothers, and we've all come up at the same time. No, that's not how it works anymore. It's mix and match. You get portaled over. You get a kid who comes in, played 3 years somewhere else. I mean, that's like what we had with Clausen ripping Notre Dame for having that big goodbye to Sam Hartman, or when he was at Notre Dame, as if he had been at Notre Dame. We love you. You love him. We recruited him, built him, developed him. He's played for you for 10 minutes. You love him. But that's exactly what's going to, and that makes it harder than ever for coaches. I do feel, how hard can you ride these kids? I mean, when can you have the real moments that change the way a kid feels about hard work, the program, you, his teammates, all of it? Because I would contend that those incredible bonds, now they will still exist. I mean, there'll be plenty of moments where it happens. But if you're a coach and you bring in a high-profile recruit who might be, like a lot of 18-year-olds, incredibly immature. Now, I'm going to paint a scenario here that's commonplace in college football and just in sports in general. I bring in a kid, and he's I don't know, he's in a rural place, a little town. Maybe his mom's not in the home, or his dad's not in the home, whatever. So a single parent family, and he comes into a place that is completely foreign to him. He's lost. It's a different world altogether. He's on a college campus, right? But he was always a great athlete in this little town, and he kind of skirted by because he was a great athlete. But now you're surrounded by guys who can all run and jump and all really play, and it is just overwhelming. In addition to figuring out the social norms and all of the things that we all have to do when we first get to college, away from our parents for the first time, away from our comfort level. And there's going to be a moment where there's a come to Jesus, where maybe I push back every day on my position coach because I don't like the way that he talks to me. I've never been talked to that way before. I don't like the way you do things. I've never gotten up at 5 a.m. for a workout. I don't need to. I'm special. I'm fast. I'm whatever. Well, that kid gets broken because there's a moment where a coach is going to say, we ain't doing this. And it's a hell or high water moment. It is, you will do this or you'll be gone, or I won't play you. And I've got options. How often is that going to happen now with a coach and a player? Where they can especially if you're good, where a coach realizes in the back of his mind, if I push this all the way to where I need it to go, I risk losing that kid. He'll walk out the door tomorrow because he can.
Right. Well, this is where, again, if you can get collective bargaining and a reorganization of the sport, you can institute fines. Because right now, the inducement idea, I think it works two ways. Not only can you get incentives, but I doubt you can get fined, or you could be docked pay. For insubordination at a practice, I doubt the Battle's End has latitude to dock somebody pay. But if you are able to do that, right, and find a player and you say, that's $15,000, you want to keep going? Well, then they're going to shut the hell up, and maybe they'll leave later and transfer later, but at least you have some sort of deterrent in the moment if they're going to show their ass during a drill. Say $15,000. You want 15 more?
Keep it going.
Keep going. Oh, nice. You're going to get in line? Thank you. Okay, here's the route we're running.
Okay, fine. You ain't in Gergelson County anymore. Gergelson. But where I was going with that is that when you talk about people on the sideline and the back and forth and like, this doesn't look to be a good culture. Like, yeah, well, first of all, that is overused. They used it against us when our guys didn't play in the game. They conveniently leave it out in other circumstances. But what happened to the great culture at Georgia I kept hearing about? Why is Carson back in the portal? Must not be great culture. That's money. It's about the money. He's going to go somewhere. I don't know what happened in that situation, but
he likes to drive safely, so that's why he left. I prefer to drive. I want to. Coach, look, Lubbock's calling me, Columbus is calling me, and you, Coach Cristobal, do you believe in traffic safety? Because I'm looking for a man who believes in traffic safety as a head coach.
I like to drive the speed limit. I'm in the right lane, steady.
Cristobal strikes me as a 10-2 guy.
Well, he strikes me as a rules guy, but I don't know. I mean, he's a hard ass, but I think he'd be willing, just like Kirby and every other coach, to look the other way to speeding. If you can run fast, jump high, and score touchdowns, you go 16-30, son, it's not advisable. But you'll learn from it, and that's why we welcome you back in here, and let's see if we can't do better next week. That's how I think that would go.
Young man, just imagine if, like for me, if my daughter was in the car.
Here we go, yeah.
What if your mom was in the car?
It hasn't.
How would you drive?
It hasn't worked at all for Kirby. Whatever that message is in Athens, it's not connecting.
Miami is the prohibitive favorite.
Yeah. Mickey Andrews gave an interview with Bryant McFadden on his podcast, and Mickey Andrews, predictably, I would say, said that he thought that practices were soft.
Oh, okay.
He thought that practices were, he thought Florida State's practices were soft. You are correct, sir. Yes, I agree with you, Mickey. Yes. Say it louder and repeatedly.
Wear a T-shirt next time you come to practice that says, "This is soft."
Yeah, you guys are all soft. No, I listen, do it. Do it. I'm a ringleader for it.
Who's got 2 thumbs and is watching a soft practice? This guy. It's a good shirt. Let's make it for him.
It's a great shirt.
Let's make it for him.
He's got 2 thumbs and is watching a practice.
A soft practice.
Is watching this guy. I should wear that on opening.
I think Mickey would actually put it on. He'd be like, yeah, maybe I'll knock some sense into him.
I feel like I should wear that and walk out there and just act like I'm not wearing it and ask Coach Norvell, how you doing? Good to see you. And he's looking at my shirt.
You want one? I mean, you would qualify. You have 2 thumbs, don't you?
Oh, my God. That is so good. I love it. No, listen, it is so predictable that he would say that because it's what all old people do about the generation, especially a couple generations removed from theirs.
He might have thought Jimbo's practices were soft.
No, but this is not me taking a shot at Mickey. I love Mickey, and he's fun to talk to. But it would be hilarious. It would be, I mean, to have that conversation with him, because I agree wholeheartedly, he would just be saying the words and I'd be going, come on. I would serve as an instigator.
Yeah, you'd be more. Amen.
Florida man in Bama, that ain't happening. But that's funny. He would have a conversation. I don't know. Mike might laugh. Maybe. I don't know.
Depends on the day.
Yeah, it depends on the day. I mean, we get along fine. He might think I was doing it to mess with him. Like to needle him.
To actually wear the shirt?
Yeah, if I wore that shirt, then you're
just got 2 thumbs.
Isn't it watching the soft ass practice?
Yeah.
This guy. Yeah.
Well, that would actually be great if a position coach wore that shirt and they said, I don't want to wear this again tomorrow. Make me not wear this shirt, young man. Because today, this is true. I do have 2 thumbs, and y'all are soft.
It would be funny, but I would also say that if you're him and you did that, if they were not having a soft practice,
you tear it off like Hulk Hogan.
Well, and the shirt underneath could say, glad to be at this rugged ass practice.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. You got to reward him. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, they'd be like, yeah.
If you're going to scream him down, you got to put your arm around his shoulder and say, good job.
Who you got tonight?
Notre Dame. Although, according to On3, there's breaking news left and right today. There's apparently a flu bug going around the Notre Dame roster, but it's affecting mostly the backups. I don't know how you would know that specific thing.
Quarantine these backup bums in one room.
Yeah, thankfully all the starters hit the town.
Yeah, stay away from the starters.
Yeah.
You slappies, take it to floor 4.
We're going to treat you like Coach K before court storming.
Yeah, well, I'm really worried for my players' safety. My starters' safety is what I meant to say.
This is your moment. Stay out here.
Did you see the Cooper flag dunk yesterday?
No.
I mean, it's all up in the face.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's well done.
Is it Blake Griffin level?
No. Very few Blake Griffin level dunks.
There's third party involved there.
That one's a troublesome dunk to watch. You almost feel dirty. You're like, oh, sir.
What's Blake about?
You're like, what that's funny, but God, dog.
Blake.
You can't treat a man like that. That is
usually we want to shove people away. You know?
I give him credit because that was,
I don't know, man. Just trying to shove people out the way. You don't bring them into the party.
I've watched that dunk 20 times, and every time I'm like, oh, we're fighting. There's no way. I mean, I'm not even fighting because I got dunked on. I'm fighting for the disrespect.
Tonight's game, to answer your initial question, is I'm setting an over-under on big-time throws for Aller.
3.
2.5.
You're going to go, yeah.
If it goes over, Penn State wins. If it hits under, then Notre Dame wins.
If you're a Penn State fan, never going to have a better chance. This is it right here. You have played the softest ass playoff schedule in the history, and there will never be a worse one. I'm calling it now. You'll never have it so easy in your life than to beat SMU and Boise, to be in the semifinals of the playoff. Give us SMU and Boise when we get to the playoffs, please. Please. Now, this year's version of FSU would have lost to every one of these teams by 100. I get it. They did lose to a couple, but the point would be, if we're good, if we're operating at peak efficiency, yeah, give me Boise and SMU. I feel pretty good about our chances, as opposed to, say, Georgia and Texas or Ohio State. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I like the matchup with SMU. Feel pretty good about this one. So take advantage of it if you're – and Penn State fans are saying that. They're not thumping their chest because they beat Boise and SMU.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. They
They're
know
nuts.
this is the one. This is the one. Because they know exactly what's going to happen. If they lose to Notre Dame tonight, sure, what are they going to get? Semi-finalists? Are you going to get the shirt?
No, these
the
are the
first
people
thing that's going to say that when you wear that to a bar, dude. Nice wins over SMU and Boise. Great season.
These are the people that held a vigil outside of Joe Pa's house.
Well, they were delusional and didn't want to believe that their head coach ignored child rape. What I'm saying is this is different. This is about the competition on the field. Come on, man. Gift. Notre Dame got lucky because you could look at it and go, well, yeah, it was a joke you had to play Indiana, but you beat Georgia by 13.
Come on, Jeff. We need to go somewhere. Where are we going? Joe Paterno's front lawn. We need to go now.
We got to talk to him.
And we're going to sing.
Oh, boy. Two very different discussions, Tom. I'm just letting you know.
You're capable of that.
I don't think they're puffing out their chest about the run to the semis. Now, if they lose, that's what's going to be. They're going to be like, well,
we got some nuts in the fan base. 100%. Everybody does. Everybody does. But I don't know that anybody ever drove up to Killearn and was camping outside of Bobby's house and singing songs.
But he wasn't in trouble.
I'm just saying.
I mean, that they were showing. I'm not defending them, but from their vantage point, their coach was being besmirched.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. He never knew a thing.
Well, of course, you and I know that he did, and we've read the documents and all the stuff, but I'm saying that's how they viewed it. There was no reason to be outside singing for Bobby. He wasn't plastered all over the papers as having ignored child rape. Jeff Cameron showed out.
Would that be a reason not to sing outside of his house?
Well, if you thought he was innocent because you refused to believe, then you'd be out there singing
I'm
away.
going to his lawn. I don't feel comfortable
You'd just be singing away. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
AC and electric is what we do.
Hi, this is Jeremy Parker, owner of Parker Services AC and Electrical. As we welcome the new year, I want to take a moment to thank you, our loyal customers, for trusting us to keep your homes in Tallahassee, Crawfordville, and the surrounding areas comfortable throughout the seasons. It's been our honor to serve you in 2024, and we look forward to providing the same dependable service in 2025. From everyone at Parker Services, we wish you and your family a happy, healthy, and comfortable new year. Here's to new beginnings and lasting comfort.
222-7722.
Florida license CMC 050334 and EC 130144434.
This is Alex from Farmers. We've been buying gold and silver jewelry, fine watches, and other collectibles for over 45 years. But did you know Farmers buys and sells gold and silver coins, bars, and bullion? Don't get scammed online or pay high shipping and handling fees. Call or stop by Farmers for a quick and easy quote. No matter if you're new to investing in bullion or have been collecting a lifetime, Farmers is your local source for buying, selling gold and silver coins and bullion. Farmers, more than you might expect, with 2 great locations. As you probably know, Farmers buys, sells, and loans on just about anything of value. What you might not know is that when you buy something from us, we guarantee the total satisfaction of your purchase. Buy it, take it home, and if for any reason you decide you don't want it within 7 days, Farmers will give you 100% of your money back. And if you decide you don't want the item within 30 days, Farmers will let you exchange it for something you do want. At Farmers, we guarantee you're going to be happy with your purchase or we'll buy it back. Farmers, check cashing, pawn service, and sales. 2 times more than you might expect with 2 great locations.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Don't miss TSC Tuesdays every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. during the Greg Tish Show. Find out what's happening at Tallahassee State College every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 FM.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
This is Brian Kilmeade, and I'm excited to be on the air in the capital city. Be sure to tune into my show. I'll be giving you all the latest news, information, and the truth you demand. The Brian Kilmeade Show is live from 9 till noon, right here on Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Let's do the right thing here and solve for the future with our friends from ISF. And ISF, we talk about a lot. Obviously, a sponsor of this segment and a partner of the Jeff Cameron Show and partner to so many more great examples of the fine work they do. 40-plus years worth of it, I might say, across the country. Your vision, our expertise, ISF. To find out more, ISF.com is where you'd want to go. I've used the one of the Department of Children and Families, Department of Health, Department of State, Florida Department of Businesses and Professional Regulation. Just those are feasibility studies, process innovation, compensation, things that they've done with the Florida Guardian Ad Litem, who we work with. Just a tremendous organization is ISF, making you better, that's for sure. Let's answer the question based on a question we got in the chat. There you go. You never know. Might be used. Nope at all. Thank you so much. What happens if Castellanos gets injured? What do we do? Well, I would guess Brock Glenn becomes your starting quarterback. Not all of the quarterbacks in Gus Malzahn's offense have been as fleet of foot and shifty as Castellanos. He's had guys that are able to run that offense, maybe less effective in the run game aspect of it than Castellanos in the past. But, Brock Glenn's not immobile. In fact, he's fairly athletic.
And
he's also tough.
Clearly invested in sticking around, because there was a lot of talk that maybe both quarterbacks would go, both Luke and Brock would leave in the portal. Brock said, no, I'm sticking around. So if he's invested in sticking around, and he heard something he liked from Gus Malzahn to not explore options, then it's an interesting subplot, because I understand, Trevor Jackson was a 4-star and he was committed to Ole Miss, and I don't know what the scholarship situation is. I'm sure he'll get one if it expands to 105, if he doesn't already have a full scholarship. Kevin Sperry, I like
Kevin Sperry too. True freshman. I don't know that you would want to roll him out there, but I'm with you.
Probably not. Not ideal to roll out a true freshman when you have a couple of players who are more veteran in front of him on the 2D. But it's going to be there's so many things that are fascinating about spring camp that are obvious and that are going to need to be covered and examined. That's one of those tier 2 or tier 3 storylines that's not nothing. Quite significant. What is the backup plan? Who is going to win those reps?
When you run the quarterback as frequently as he does, and when you bring in a Castellanos who is very effective at running the football, you have to plan for injury. You have to plan for the fact that he may miss a series, a quarter, a half, a game. He's going to get hit a lot, and he's tiny. He's already been banged up. So this is probably going to happen. It is probably going to happen. And I would think that, yes, you would have a plan for it. Trevor Jackson, you brought him up a moment ago. It's a good person to bring up. Trevor Jackson, not a big guy, but he is, nearly 200 pounds now, and he's 6'3", I think Trevor is, somewhere in there.
Yeah, he's taller.
He's taller. Yeah, I've stood now. He's taller than me. He's certainly taller than Castellanos. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, a lot of people are.
Yeah, but what would you say Trevor is? Just over
6'3" listed.
Okay, yeah, I knew he was pretty tall. I've stood next to him a couple times. Anyhow, he's he's very athletic, very shifty. So I don't know who would win the job, but obviously the answer is it's either Brock or Trevor as the backup running the system, and I'm fine with either.
Well, frankly. And the answer is there needs to be some urgency to cultivate that answer for the reasons you're outlining, which is if you start with Alabama, that's going to be a physical game. You would need to have a contingency plan before that game begins. Any game, really, you need to have a plan, a backup plan. But when you play somebody as physical as that out the gate, look, every drive matters. Every play is critical. So those reps are going to be fascinating. And this goes back to, again, I hope practice is run in such a way that the second team and the third team maybe get a little bit more than they have in the past couple of seasons, because you're going to need them. You're going to need him desperately. And the hard part is, with Castellanos coming in with so many other new players, he needs reps. So you're going to need to have concurrent reps going on. I really believe that. I hope they do.
I hope they do too. That is a question that is going to be on the mind of many. What changes? I've already heard it asked several times. We don't know the answer, but what changes, if any, are going to be made to the way they practice? And that's a part of it. And there's a lot of reasons that I want some things to change. I'm going to say this because I think I have to. I would have liked and voiced it. I just didn't dwell on it. There was no reason to dwell on it. And I got a lot of things wrong, so I'm not trying to say I'm always right. That's certainly not true. But I didn't love their practices when they were winning either. And I thought they were a little softy. And, I've told you that before, and we've talked about that before. So, there was no reason for me to dwell on it because they freaking won. So why would I be stupid on my part? Like, hey, guys, these guys really aren't practicing very hard at all. This is, meanwhile, they're winning every game they play. So
right.
That would be dumb. But when you have something like this play out the manner that it did, and you have to assess the entirety of what you're doing, it's a good time to bring it up. Like, why don't we add some toughness to this thing?
It's just, again, you're right. The education, the toughness, but the education part of it, they're both so critical.
Yes.
And on both sides of the ball, new schemes. I get that Gus's scheme resembles Mike's in some ways.
There are all kinds of elements of it, yes.
But if you've got in the starting group 4 new offensive linemen starting, 2 new wide receivers, 2 new tight ends, maybe a running back, probably not. Doesn't look like now, unless you somehow a playoff team loses one. A new quarterback. They need every rep that they can get. But so too do the understudies who are breaking in a new scheme. They need every rep that they can get. Same thing for the other side of the football.
Yeah.
If you're running 3-3-5, man, there is no we know what we have in Darrell Jackson. Hell no, we don't know what we have because we're asking him to do different things.
Yeah, we think he's a nice fit, but we don't know how he's going to perform.
Yeah,
given the responsibilities,
of the position and the scheme that we're drawing up and what we need him to learn. So, man, the education part of this, I agree with you. The toughness is goes without saying, but they need to maximize every minute they possibly can. I'm hoping there's not a whole lot of standing around.
I don't think there will be, but I don't know that, and I can't imagine that. Look, I come at it from the standpoint of the other side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball. You got to run this at full speed. You got to see what you have. Can you implement and run the system you want, the 3-3-5? Can you do that? Do you have the horses to do that, or do we need to modify this greatly in year one? Because you got to know that answer right away, and I think one of the ways you find that out is full speed, head on, let's go. Play it. Play fast. What do you know? What can you do? And this is I don't know how they'll answer that question or what they'll do with that, but I would think on the defensive side, they're going to want to be more physical.
So I know you've got answers on this because you've heard, you've seen press conferences from other coaches talk about physical days and so forth. I've got a quick answer as well from Hog Watcher. Question: have either you went to and watched any other Division I practices the last few years? Are we comparing practices to other teams or our former experiences of what football used to be like? For me personally, I can only speak on the practices that I've seen, which are Florida State practices from 3 different head coaches.
3 different head coaches, right.
And Jimbo's is light years more active than the 2 successors. I don't know if you want to use the term success anywhere near that, but with Willie Taggart, Mike had success with something that I think more closely resembles Willie Taggart's style of practice than Jimbo's style of practice, which of course is the Saban method of practicing. There was just more activity. Now, toughness I can't speak to, but more activity.
Okay, well, I can tell you from 3 different standpoints. I can tell you from the way football used to be when I played back in the day, and a lot of people can probably do that, right? So that's not like a, hey, look at me, but I can. And then I can tell you I was at Bowden's practices when I first broke into the business. We had opportunities. It was fun to do, and I can tell you that it was much more physical back then. Mickey Andrews' practices, yes, very, very physical. Now, I would also tell you that the belief as to what kind of practice you should have has changed in football at the high school level, the college level, and the professional level. Some of that has been because of a strong players union in the case of the NFL, where they say we don't need to hit as much. We know how to tackle. We wouldn't have gotten here if we didn't. You don't have to beat us to death. And in fact, we're going to protect ourselves. This is a job, and I'd like to keep it, and I don't need to get hurt because you're going to cut me. That's what you're going to do. So they've been able to regulate some of it out of the game. But so there's been a shift in the belief of what a practice should look like going from, a few decades back to where we are now. But also there is a disagreement on this issue, even amongst modern college coaches. Georgia Tech, Georgia, other coaches have alluded to certain days of the week in which they have practices in which the physicality of those said practices are much more intense than any other day of the week when they're practicing, right? So at Georgia, it's on a Tuesday because I heard them talk about this. I've not been to Athens to see those practices, so I'm not going to claim that I was there. But Kirby has brought that up. In fact, he's got a name for him. And Georgia Tech's coach said it as well. And we talked about it. He's a former offensive lineman. It kind of stands to reason to me that they would be, right? I don't know how the rest of the country practices. It may be that Florida State, in theory, practices with more physical play than some other schools in other states and other leagues that I never see. I kind of doubt it, but maybe. So it's a mix and match, that answer. It's a little bit of old school from way back when, and I remember watching Florida State's practices when I first started, late 90s. 98, 99, 2000, going to those. Those were very physical practices. But a lot has changed since then. Mat drills don't exist anymore either.
there was a brief period in time under Norvell where they did have 2 fields going at once. It might have been a day or 2, but I remember seeing it when they were outside. I don't know if you were there for those particular days, but they had the 3 fields. This is before construction began on the football-only facility, or the 2 fields, I should say. And you saw on both fields, offense versus defense, concurrent reps going. And that I was thinking to myself, oh, is this because we've built up depth now that we've gotten to a place where you can conduct a practice as such? But it hadn't stayed that way.
No.
I hope it does. Just you've got so many new concepts you've got to teach, and you didn't have the bowl practices to work in any of them. So you got to move.
I loved the way Coach Fisher practiced. I think you did too.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially when you see other methods, you go, whoa.
That was, Coach Fisher, that was the practice.
1s and 3s, 2s and 4s.
Let's go. And it was now. And it was constant.
Yeah.
We ain't screwing around.
It's almost like Saban knew what he was doing.
Correct. But yes, no standing around. Your backup's got a ton of reps. I asked Jimbo about that before. He's like, well, they're going to have to play. I'm going to play them. And I'm doing them, quote unquote, Jimbo, to me, when I said, I asked him I'm paraphrasing whatever it was I asked him, but I asked him about the way that he was yelling at a walk-on quarterback. We had a walk-on quarterback, and he was screaming down this walk-on quarterback.
Yeah.
And I remember going, damn, he was killing that kid. He's never going to play.
I think that was 13.
Was it?
Yeah, because you had Coker in the line with Jameis, and then Smag.
Yes.
And the kid.
Yeah, and the kid, yeah.
Yeah.
So all I remember his answer, he's like, well, I'm not doing my job if I don't coach him the same manner that I coach all the other players. I owe it to him. That's why I'm here. He's here. He's on the team, isn't he? He wants to get better, doesn't he? I'm going to ignore his mistakes and only address those that I think can play better than him. That's not why he's here, and that's not why I'm here. I was like, okay, that's an awesome answer, and he was right. But he would ride everybody. Now the problem is later on,
right? Yeah.
Everybody's
their own worst enemy and their best.
There was a time, Jimbo, you had it.
If it was a different,
you had it. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV. That was from our friends at ISF, and that was Solving the Future.
Your local news now.
4 people were involved and at least 2 were hurt after a multi-vehicle crash along Crawfordville Highway in Trumpet Lane Tuesday afternoon, according to a spokesperson from Florida Highway Patrol. A Volvo, Nissan, Ford F-250, and Lexus were involved in the crash. FHP said at least 1 vehicle rolled over during the crash. At least 2 people were hospitalized following the crash, with 1 in critical condition but stable as of Tuesday evening. It is currently unclear what caused the crash. It is under investigation. Severe damage was left to a home on Government Farm Road Tuesday afternoon in Jefferson County after the kitchen caught fire. The incident unfolded around noon. Firefighters responded to the home on Government Farm Road and found heavy smoke. The fire was contained to the kitchen. However, the home sustained smoke and heat damage throughout the residence. This is Rachel Anay with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at McLemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
Rain chances return to end the week with a slight warm-up, but not by much. Then another cool down for the weekend. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 33. Rain chances return on Friday, but primarily late Friday. 30% chance early, going up to a 90% chance later on. High of 60, low of 42. Saturday, a 40% chance early, then clearing out. High of 50. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Well, it's a new year, and it's time to make your yard look great again. Since 2004, the Lawn Johns have been keeping Tallahassee looking beautiful. In fact, when they do such a good job on your yard, you're going to say, wow, they did a good job on my yard. If I were to rate the Lawn Johns, I would give them, just like I give myself, an A+. Everyone knows the Lawn Johns are, and I have to say, the best. So pick up the phone and call 322-2567, or you should visit them online at thelawnjohns.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Really quickly, Hog Watcher, you go back. I was talking about it yesterday. Bobby had live quarterbacks in the spring games, and Dan Kendra got hurt, and I was there. That was the end of that. Never again. Really, spring football, as it pertains to in Tallahassee, changed forevermore that day. Even with the subsequent coaches that came in, I think it just, once something like that happens, where you get a torn ACL or a broken leg or foot or hand or arm or something like that, and a guy's going to miss significant time and requires surgery, and it's the most important position, you just know it's going to forever alter. And so basically, for as long as I can remember, quarterbacks have worn the green ever since then, and that will never change. So, and you have somebody live. I know that I'm a little conflicted about how it pertains to this. Don't you kind of have to run this live?
No.
But what are you going to tell what are you going to tell your defense? I guess wrap up and thud you? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I understand that there's a song and dance to have. There's a line to walk there, but no, you can't make Castellanos live. I don't think you can do it. He's too valuable.
It sucks, man. Well, then you're going to have to make Jackson live and let him take a beating.
Well, you can make the running backs live. You got 9 of them. Clearly, you don't like them because you're trying to go get a kid from Utah State.
But he went somewhere else.
He went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's an oversimplification, but I mean, you're taking his call.
Well, that's because, again, we go back to the 100% proven. That's the MO this time around. They got burned, and then they know it. I mean, look at what they're doing. These are guys that have played big-time college football and succeeded.
And you listen, this is a big camp for a lot of those guys in that backfield because Chroma is a summer enrollee. He's not going to be here. So,
Can we make that not happen? Can he get him here, please?
You just want to see him?
I want to see him. I'm excited to see him. And also, I want him to play.
I don't think it matters when he enrolls. I think he's
you think he's going to play?
Man, they force-fed it to Davis last year. And I think Cam can be a player, but I didn't understand how he jumped all the way up the depth chart.
Well, and I will tell you, based on productivity or lack thereof, he shouldn't have continued to get the ball.
Yeah, he was always first guy off the bench.
He never had vision. There was a lot there not to like about his first season. I'm going to tell you, sometimes you see a kid, you're like, there's a lot to like. There was a lot not to like in year one.
It's funny in those practices that nothing ever came true from. I saw vision from a few reps from Cam when I was back and forth here just before we left for Dublin. And I was like, oh, okay, he's starting to see it. But, the speed of the real game is a little bit different. And I don't think that drop to start his career helped his confidence.
Isn't it crazy you can go all the way back to a singular play? I don't know why we were running that for him in game one, but we did. And and it's out the gate. It is truly out the gate.
Good call.
Probably going to score. Yesterday, I told you about our new partners, Rocket Money. Told you what they do, which is help you figure out where it is you have subscriptions and maybe didn't realize or don't need. And you say, oh, I didn't know I was still subscribed to that. Why am I paying a monthly fee to, Dollar Shave Club? Can I use that one? Whomever it is, right? You're like, I don't do that anymore. Bottom line is they'll go and check it out for you. They'll save you the time. You just sign up for this thing. It's short and easy. Took you, what, 10 minutes, Tom?
About 10. Yep.
Okay.
You got to have all your information.
Yeah.
So if you got your passwords for your banks and your credit cards and so forth, but it takes all the data, puts it into one nice, neat little dashboard, and you get to see, all your finances. It's not just about what subscriptions you're paying for. It gives you an outline of your finances that just makes things a lot easier to understand what's coming in, what's going out. And if you have a family, I know that's got a lot more variables.
Yeah, no, I'm almost afraid to do it. I'm going to do it today after the show. I haven't signed up yet. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'll let you know how it goes once I do. I'm excited to do it. And when they wanted to jump on board, they reached out to Tom and said, man, that show is listened to by everybody. We got to be a part of it. That's true. We are, and we will, because I think you're a trustworthy organization, and I'd like to figure this out. And Tom did it already, so you've already saved $100 and something a month.
That's correct. And there's another one that I need to. We talked about this actually in a segment yesterday.
Yeah.
It's going to be going up somewhere around $300 a month. Unreal.
And for 10 minutes, it took you to 15 minutes to sign up?
Right, to just stare at it and go, I should really.
Now,
and that's what they do.
Why am I doing that? I don't need the snazzy pants. I shouldn't have snazzy pants. I don't need the snazzypants.com membership.
Snazzypants.com. You outed me. I love snazzypants.com.
I was outing me. I bought pants and somehow got entered into a club, and it wasn't called Snazzy Pants. I'm still mad at myself for all those years ago when I thought of the concept, and then it was later perfected, and I could be a gazillionaire.
I also remember when you were paying for, I think, YouTube TV, cable, and Hulu at the same time, like Hulu Plus Live Sports.
Not.
That was a segment on the show, or two.
Yeah. Well, I was paying, yes, but it was not for. It was not for YouTube. It was Hulu Plus Live Sports, cable, and something else.
Yeah, but it was a live streamer.
Yeah.
So you're paying.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing this for?
$350 a month for the same channels.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah. No, but I haven't done that in a long time. We got my act together there. But this will get you straight. That's what I'm telling you. It's a game changer for you, and you'll find all your unwanted subscriptions, whatever, Snazzy Pants or whatever it is you're into. Hey now. Ooh. I'm still subscribed to ILikeToLook.com. I got to get rid of that one. What? I just made that up.
I like to look.
That seems like a nefarious sort of
thing. Yeah,
that's why I did it.
It could be anything.
That
Look at what?
That's why I said it. Like, you could be on the computer, your wife could be in the kitchen, you could be like, ooh, I'm still subscribed to ILikeToLook.com. I'm going to have to get rid of that one.
ILikeToLook.com/about us. We like to look at things.
Yeah. And it's a dude staring at a moth. It's like, what? What is he looking at? A moth. He likes to look at moths.
It's a button and it just says, look here. It's a good website.
Why did I start ILikeToLook.com? You like to look at what?
All it is.
Shoelaces?
It's a slideshow of random photos. And then you just drop some ads in there. I bet you could make some money off of that.
Hey, see, I just invented something else. Yeah, good luck. I'm going to get that
Here's
URL.
Lava Rock.
ILikeToLook.com. Look at what? Well, come see
Yeah.
for just $5 a month.
Here's Madison Avenue in 1987. Here's a beach.
Cancel your unwanted subscriptions. Reach out. Get your financial goals in order. Do it faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon today. That's rocketmoney.com/gameon. rocketmoney.com/gameon. I always dreamed of being able to do the repeat, three-peat, or four-peat because I'm annoyed when I hear it done by other people, other ads, but I wanted to do it because I'm always very aware that it's coming when I'm listening to a podcast. So here comes the third one. Don't need it. Go ahead, a-hole. I wanted to be the guy.
Because you repeat it back to the person before they read the third time.
Yes, yeah. That's why it works. It's exactly why they do it. But they always do it one time too many. Never stop short. They never stop short of the amount of times necessary. They're always going to reach that one, but then they go above and beyond. I would once like to be walking down the road listening to my podcast, hear an ad, and be like, oh, you should have repeated again. I didn't quite get it. I'd love that to happen. It never happens.
Well, maybe if we get Gus on the show, you can ask him and repeat a question a few times. Do you believe in not subbing for other running backs, not subbing for other running backs, and not subbing
for other running backs,
except for your starter?
My thoughts are about the subbing of the running backs. How often do you do it?
And why don't you want to do it? Because you shouldn't sub the running back.
Yeah, over and over. Just keep repeating. Watch his brain explode. Is it on the other side of the screen there? He's like, what the hell are you?
Well, we don't.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Who am I talking to?
Who's your bell cow, Gus Bus?
Yeah. If I called him Gus Bus. Good to have you on the program, Gus. Wanted to do this for a long time. So, Gus Bus, let me ask you. He's like, what?
You call me Gus Bus?
I did. Beep, beep. So anyhow, Gus Bus, I'm going to take Notre Dame tonight as well, but I'm torn, and I think it's going to be a good game, and it is 7:30, and I'm excited about that fact. Give me some sort of 24-21 action. That's what I want to see. Enough scoring, but enough hard hitting. I want it to be tough. I want it to be rugged. I want it to be, they're having a hard time here. I want the average casual fan to turn away from this game. It's not exciting enough. There aren't beeps and whistles and sounds and distractors. I've got to care about football to keep watching this.
Yeah,
that's the kind of game I want it to be.
Yes, you want an offensive holding penalty to feel crippling.
Oh,
that's the kind of game you want. Oh, God, they're punting now.
Damn it, man. That's it. 2nd and 16. They can't overcome that.
Call 2 runs.
Here comes a draw and a screen. Punt. Yeah.
Shouldn't have held.
Yeah. It is a devastating blow for Notre Dame. 1st and 20 is not doable.
We had gotten to the 40.
They're going to have to run a reverse or some sort of trick play. Yeah, that's how I want this to work. Good work out of you. Thanks, everybody. Always a pleasure to be with you. We'll be back with you again tomorrow on a Libations Friday. Enjoy the game tonight. Stay warm. Be good. Peace.